Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another exciting episode of Mythic Banter. I have no idea what is going on in the gaming industry this week because I've been under a rock playing Elden Ring Nightreign. I've been having a blast playing that game, but yeah. Also, last Sunday, I went to a Warhammer Kill Team tournament. Okay?
Yeah.
And
How did that go?
I got matched up against the two strongest teams in there.
Wow. So you got your shit handed to you.
Yeah. No, actually, it wasn't too bad. It wasn't too bad because I took a bit of a beating with the guy that was playing Phobos because Phobos is ridiculously overpowered. And then I got matched up against Nemesis Claws. This is a Night Lord's kill team. And they're like one of the most powerful kill teams around right now. And my Ernkin Jaegers friggin' snatched the win like the absolute gigachads that they are. But let me tell you, it took like friggin' 5 miniatures firing nonstop to one model before I took his ass out.
Oh, wow. Nice. Okay. Well, that's good. That's good.
Yeah, good
you know,
times.
as long as you have hobbies. For those of you that have no idea what's going on, Rurikon legitimately, again, messaged me yesterday and he was like, bro,
wait,
can we do it?
No, it wasn't. It wasn't yesterday. Now you're lying.
Day before yesterday.
I gave you 2 days this time.
Yeah, my apologies. My apologies. Rurikon gave me 2 days this time. It's like, bro, can we record on Thursday? Because I'm currently addicted to Elden Ring Nightreign.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to be able to do, like, Friday's going to be a little rough.
It's going to be
And then
rough.
I go, yeah, sure. No worries, bro. No worries. We'll do it on Thursday. He arrives and he's like, so what are we talking about? He has nothing. He only has Elden Ring Nightreign.
I have Elden Ring Nightreign.
Yes.
Elden Ring Nightreign I have. Okay? I got something.
Yeah. He's going to be talking about Elden Ring Nightreign. So there's a lot of stories at the moment in the gaming industry. There's a lot of stuff happening. Some political, some not so political, some interesting stuff, like really interesting stuff, specifically around the Expedition 33. There's a recent interview that, oh man, is that good. But we're going to get to all of that and even more. But let's first start. Did you see the conversation between Asmongold and Elon Musk?
No, I did not. I have no idea what is going on there, but they're both gamers. Well, Elon Musk a little bit less, but sure.
Elon Musk pays gamers, but we're not sure if he actually is a gamer himself. That would be an assumption on your part.
The last time,
speculative, Your Honor.
Yeah,
speculation, Your Honor.
on the last Path of Exile 2 League, he was actually playing his character from the start. And, you know, I'm like, okay, I can respect that a little bit more than you like paying some random person in Asia to fill your tab with Elon's map and all of that usual stuff. Sure. Well, like, you know, that's all people really want is authenticity. But yeah. So Elon Musk and Asmongold got into it on X. Tell me about that. I have no idea what's going on there.
Effectively, Asmongold's been looking into multi-streaming. You know, looking at, basically, he announced that he is going to start multi-streaming, except he's not going to be streaming to YouTube because of YouTube's React policy. For those of you that don't know, if you're trying to react to videos while streaming on YouTube, YouTube will sometimes just black out the screen.
It depends.
No one can see anything.
It depends on the video. If it's like, there are certain things that YouTube will do that. But like, I've reacted to videos on YouTube plenty of times, and I've never had any issues, so...
I've done it too, but it seems to be super hit and miss. Like, sometimes it doesn't do anything and it just allows you to go. And then other times I'll watch a normal video from a normal creator and my YouTube audience will just be like, bro, where you at? Or like, what do you mean? And they just go, it's black. We can hear you. We can hear the dialogue and everything, but we can't see anything. So YouTube is weird with this stuff. So Asmon said he's not going to do it to YouTube, which effectively leaves Rumble, Kick, and Twitch, right?
I actually think that the main reason why Asmon's not going to do it on YouTube is because he doesn't want to fuck with the algorithm, which I think is smart.
Probably, right?
I think that's the main. It's not because of like, oh, it blacks my. It's like the blacking of the video. Like I said, in my 17 years, I've had that happen once, literally once.
Yeah.
So it's like I know it
I've
can
had it
happen
a few times.
I've seen it happen, but it's very, very rare. So I would argue it's likely more so because of the algorithm, and I think it's the right move because my algorithm recently has been kicking me in the nuts. But yeah, keep going.
It's not just your algorithm. Trust me, bro. It's not just your algorithm. But anyways, right? So Asmon then starts talking on stream about X and specifically X streaming.
Yeah.
And he basically says that, if X wanted to, he'd be happy to work with them to basically fix X streaming so that it can compete with Twitch and YouTube and all the rest. And he assumes that it probably will cost anywhere from like $40 to $50 million. But once it's done, X will probably be perfect for streaming.
Oh, absolutely.
And Elon Musk.
I think X could potentially be like a really strong streaming platform if they figure out how to make it happen. But currently, it is potentially one of the weaker ones. Yeah, it's not fantastic.
Yeah. But here's the thing. Elon Musk literally just replies to Asmongold's clip and he goes, let's do it. So Asmon is going to be working with X to fix X and turn it into an actual streaming platform.
I know what Asmon wants. Asmon just wants to like, hey, Elon, I want to go to space. Asmon just wants to go to space, dude. Because I think he said it. I think he said it in some videos or something. I'm pretty sure I've heard him say like, "Oh, I'd be cool to go to space" or something like that. And so, he's gonna work with Elon. He's gonna fix X, and then he's gonna be like, "And also, can I go to space?" What a fucking Chad move.
But I think it kind of also makes sense when you look at what's happening to Twitch. For example, Twitch just banned Hassan, right? But then it turns out
for the entirety
Twitch banned
of 24
Hassan for
hours.
a full day.
Yeah, for 24 hours.
On a Sunday, when Hassan never streams on a Sunday. So Hassan never streams on Sundays.
Can you imagine?
And then XQC actually revealed this, by the way. XQC said, when you get banned as a big streamer, Twitch will reach out to you and be like, so what's your schedule look like for the next few days? Because we need to ban you. So which days can you take off? So we'll ban you on those days and you can take off and then, you get back in. So it's all for show, bro. It's just complete fake bullshit.
But the moment you said that he was banned on a Sunday, because I didn't know that it was, I know that he was banned for 24 hours. I didn't know that it was on a Sunday. But when you said that, I was just picturing Dan Clancy negotiating Hassan's ban. Dan Clancy going like that on his hands and knees going like, Hassan, I need to ban you, please. When can I ban? So I was like, all right, I'll take Sunday off. Okay, just ban me on Sunday, and that'll be fine. And the thing is, there's even a clip about this. I think there's a clip of Hassan saying, "Oh yeah, I'll take the ban." Like he's in control. Like it wasn't intentional for him to say it that way. I don't think, because I think it was a little bit too revealing. But he did say it like that. Like, I'm in control. Yeah, sure, I'll take the ban. It's like it's a good thing you get to choose, motherfucker.
Yeah, I mean, the rest of us don't really have that option. But I think Twitch has revealed themselves as just being super far left, right? And also, it's not even that it's far left. It's like they're dangerously close to platforming terrorist propaganda and platforming terrorist recruitment people, right? So it is, at some point, I think advertisers are just naturally going to start getting really jittery and they're like, bro, what the hell are you guys playing at? Like, we don't, like Pepsi. Guys, Pepsi caused Apocalypse on YouTube all because they didn't want to be seen next to potentially racist content.
Yeah.
Just to point that out. But PewDiePie once said the N-word and Pepsi started an entire apocalypse. What do you think advertisers are going to do when users start going, wait, so you guys are supporting terrorist organizations? Dude, it's gonna be a nightmare, right?
Oh, like I'm pretty sure that their advertising department's probably already working overtime to make sure that the advertisers don't leave. But to me the thing is, I don't care which direction political leaning the people over at Twitch are. What I care is like you enforce your rules equally. Hassan should have been permanently suspended like fucking years ago at this point with all the bullshit that he's been pulling off. And if you're still just like, oh yeah, we'll do like a ban just for show, it's like, all right, bro. Yeah. I mean, you go ahead and you do you, whatever the fuck you want to do. But like the platform is pretty much unreliable, and I don't know for how much longer it's going to stay in business. Particularly, they had to remove their business from like South Korea, whatever it was, because they couldn't even afford servers anymore, and they still haven't improved the video quality of their platform for what, like since its fucking inception, pretty much. I mean, I don't know.
Well,
I don't remember if they. I don't remember.
There are
if they
some creators
on H.264
that can do 1440p.
1440p. Wow.
There's some creators that can do 1440p.
I mean, 1440p is what I stream on YouTube because 4K introduces too much of a delay. But yeah. But 1440p at what bitrate? That's the actual golden question. Because if you tell me 1440p at 6K, I'll just say no thanks.
No. It's so you have to switch to AV1. And again, that's something that not every streamer will have access to.
Not everybody can do.
So yeah. Like I don't think my graphics card can do AV1.
You need a 4060 for everyone.
Yeah, and I'm not buying another graphics card until this one is really outdated.
Yeah.
So yeah, I can't do AV1, which means I won't. But anyway, I don't really care about going higher.
You don't know the bitrate?
No, I mean once it's AV1, 6,000 bits is perfectly fine. Right?
No, it's
on AV1
not.
Because it's
not for me.
Well,
Fuck that
AV1
shit.
gives you. Effectively, you can stream at half the bit rate than what you would need to do on H64 for the same quality, at least theoretically, right?
Fuck that shit.
On AV1.
If I'm streaming 1440p, 10,000 is the bare minimum, bro. 10,000.
No, the problem with you, we've already established this.
I'm a quality whore.
Yeah, but this is the issue, right? So pay attention, right? We're doing a podcast. Me and Rurikon are both just sitting here. There's no fast movements on the screen. There's nothing really happening. This asshole, right, cannot just do normal quality. No. Here's my 4K video quality. It's massive file.
It's not 4K. It's 1080p. I'm recording at 1080p.
Yeah, but that wasn't what it started off as. It was a discussion because... Yeah, you kept going like max quality because Rurikon really wants you to be able to see every individual beard hair that is on his glorious face.
The best part is that I'm putting all this quality into these files. That we have these shitty Elgato face cameras that can't pick up on that quality at all because they're garbage.
Yeah, but hey, it is what it is. If it works for you, it works. I'm looking forward to it. I think having a big player in the market,
absolutely,
specifically a player like X that seems very open to feedback, like very open to what people say. For example, I just heard the other day there was like a teenager that once replied to a video of Elon Musk talking about SpaceX, and the teenager saw a problem in the way that Elon Musk and them were running things, and they commented, and Elon Musk literally changed the way they do things based on that comment. And then
that's cool.
Invited that kid to join them at SpaceX just to show him how they change things based on his recommendation. So Elon Musk doesn't seem like the kind of guy that's just, he refuses to take advice or information from everyone. So I think this can be good, and specifically having a streamer sort of guide the process, I think can just be a good idea, right? Because YouTube isn't it. I'm sorry, but YouTube's UI on streaming is not quite as bad as X's, but it's still not great.
It's not that bad.
It's not great. It's not great. At least not in my opinion. But time for us to talk about something. Well, we're going to throw it back a little. You remember
Wait, you're going to do what now?
The Veilguard was here. We're going to be talking about Bioware.
No. You said we're going to be doing what?
We're going to be throwing it back a little. We have to talk about.
That's what she said.
That is not what she said. She said something completely different.
Fucking got him. Got him good. I got him good, boys.
She said that you're to blame for the failures of Dragon Age the Veilguard. Like literally word for word. It was Rurikon's fault.
It was me. Oh no.
Yeah. No. So a BioWare voice actress, because apparently we now care what voice actors have to say. Because oh man, I am so the retardation that is happening currently in the media is beyond me. So we have BioWare claims, and then also this new article about Ciri and The Witcher, where apparently the voice actor of Geralt, Cockle, some shit, apparently he is one of the arbiters of truth as to who the next Witcher has to be in Witcher 4. Like, they wrote an entire article saying Geralt's voice actor thinks Ciri is a fine choice for the next Witcher. And it's like, who gives a shit? Like, what does he have to do with any of this? He just gets some lines and acts it. He's not the writer. He didn't do shit.
He might have information because he was involved with the creative process, but I don't know how much that counts for Witcher 4.
Yeah, I mean, if he wanted to talk about Witcher 3, sure, but he has nothing to say. And also, then we'll talk about Witcher stuff. You're
going on a tangent.
Yeah,
keep us focused.
I'm ranting.
Yes,
I'm ranting a little. So, the BioWare voice actress. This is a voice actress that's worked on Dragon Age Inquisition as well as in Dragon Age.
This is important.
I cannot remember. I don't have the article open in front of me right now.
Can't believe you would do this.
My apologies. Effectively, she laments the idea that gamers wanted BioWare's Dragon Age the Veilguard to fail even before it came out. And how dare you do that? According to her, when you haven't even played the game, how can you decide that a game is just bad without even playing it? And
so,
that it is the gamer's
let me answer
failed.
that question. I can answer that question. See, what is one of the things that separates us from the animals? You know, one of the things that separates us from savage creatures and all of that stuff that allowed us to climb to the top of the food chain, even though we are not the physically strongest animal on planet Earth. What is that one thing that separated us? It was pattern recognition. Humans are very good at recognizing patterns. So therefore, you can blame us and then you can ask the question, how would you wish for a game to fail before it even starts? Because gamers, especially gamers, like the human race, as it owes a lot of its survival to pattern recognition. And gamers are exceptional at that specific skill of pattern recognition.
Because it's literally what games is. It's defeating pattern recognition.
Exactly. You're supposed to
recognizing patterns and then defeating it.
Recognizing patterns and implementing solutions. And right now, what is happening is that a large portion of the gaming community has begun recognizing the pattern that a lot of publishers are basically just trying to sell slop to us. Like that's just, this is just a fact. Whether people want to believe it or not, I don't give a fuck. Like, just look at Ubisoft. Might as well call it Slopsoft, because that's all they give you, to like slop after slop after slop. And so people have begun...
Ubislop. Or Ubislop.
Or Ubislop.
Either one of those names is good.
But, people have begun recognizing this pattern of like, you can kind of look at a game and be like, I don't think this game is going to be very good. Now, me, because I'm a content creator, I usually will be like, okay, this doesn't look very good, which is what I said when I first saw the thing. But I'll check it out and I'll judge for myself. And then I checked it out and I played the whole thing. And then I was like, yep, it's actually pretty bad. People were correct when they were saying that this wasn't going to be very good. Now, the situation there is that people are now just preconditioned to be much more wary, because guess what? Money doesn't grow on fucking trees. Okay. And people want to make sure that if they're spending money on something that is worth their time. And therein lies the problem with the companies doing sloppy stuff. It's because, like, yeah, people don't want it and they want it to fail because they want that to become an example. They want that to become a pattern that the industry itself starts recognizing, like, oh, if we make games like this, it's not going to work very well. So it's just like pattern recognition and pattern influence to try and change, modify a behavior. In this case, the predatory behavior of publishers. And that, Miss Voice Actress of Dragon Age, the Veilguard, is why people want the game to fail. They want it to fail so that it modifies the behavior of the publisher. That's why.
Yeah, I think the other thing that needs to be remembered is we told you before the game came out that this isn't what we wanted. You told us to stop complaining. So I'm not sure what you want, right? I remember seeing the very first cinematic for Dragon Age the Veilguard, and my immediate thought was, is this Dragon Age Mobile? Because the graphics were very mobile-y. It looked like a mobile game. It didn't look like Dragon Age. It looked like what you would see in mobile. So people were rightfully going, wait, this is really not what we want. Add on to that, I think there's a new sort of, there is the obvious side. I come from the anti-woke side. There is the obvious anti-woke stuff, right?
Yes.
That's already being pushed back on. You now also have more gamers that, while they might not be necessarily as anti-politics in video games, they're certainly starting to notice the sort of slop that comes with the sort of more activist-minded games that come out these days, right? And so there's a bit of a pattern to be recognized in that as well. So the gaming industry has just gone to the point now where if you even have to ask, how dare you judge this game before you've played it? You haven't been paying attention. Because it becomes obvious if you show me an entire trailer and I look at that trailer and I go, wow, I sure see a lot of things that reminds me of a lot of other things in this trailer. The people are going to go, man, I hope this fails because you guys keep destroying the stuff that I care about, you know? And I'm done. I'm sick and tired of it. I think we'll sort of just paint this into sort of a package because there's two other topics that is very much related to this exact topic. And the next one is actually from another EA sort of, actually a Bioware old-timer that in an interview explained how EA executives, now we spoke about this last week. I don't like this boogeyman that executives have become, right? Because it seems like whenever developers want to, it's fine if, like, I think there's a lot of things that executives do that's really, really shitty and bad. It just feels like a lot of the time developers are using the executives to excuse their own shortcomings. To sort of be like, guys, don't blame us. Blame these executives. And I'm like, well, it wasn't Andrew Wilson that wrote Tash's storyline. I can guarantee that. So fundamentally, I'm not going to blame the executives for everything. But in this, I do actually agree with this developer. In that he says EA executives basically imagined nerds to be inside this cave. And that whenever you made an RPG, the nerds would just play the RPG. It doesn't matter what the RPG is.
They're talking about me. I'm the nerd that plays the RPGs. It's me.
Yeah. I used to be this guy, right? I used to be this guy that whenever BioWare announced a new RPG, I was like, well, I'm going to play it.
You got out of your cave and you bought the RPG. Yeah.
Like, no questions, right? I'm going to play it. It's BioWare. Like, why wouldn't you trust BioWare, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the executives effectively they just thought we can produce whatever. We don't have to put that much effort into it. As long as it's an RPG and as long as it comes from BioWare, that's good, right? That's decent. I think the problem so first and foremost, this obviously leads to a loss of trust from gamers, right? But then even more importantly than that, if you're a good games developer that really want to make good games, are you going to stick around working for a studio where the entire goal of the studio is just to make games as quickly as possible so that you can get to the next.
The goal of the studio isn't really to make games, it is to maximize profits.
Yeah, but if you're a good game developer, are you going to want to work for a studio like that where maximizing profits is all that matters?
Probably
but obviously not. Yeah, you want to do something that you love. You love doing this thing. You're going to go work for another studio that doesn't do this bullshit to you.
I mean, but the thing is, it's so interesting to see Electronic Arts talking about it this way, because you can tell that the reason they used to talk about it like this is because they think that they're the jocks in college because they have the fucking the sports games. So they're like, oh no, the actual proper, elegant gamers, they're playing our sports titles. They're not playing the RPG garbage. That's for nerds that live in a cave. It's like, you see what I'm saying? Because like that's always been EA's thing. They've always been like, oh yeah, we do the sports games. We have our FIFAs, we have our Maddens. Yeah. That's the real business. Then we have these people that live in a fucking cave, these goddamn Dungeons and Dragons nerds, and they're gonna eat whatever fucking slop they're fed. That's what you're gonna fucking get. And yeah, that doesn't surprise me that that's the way that went.
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the big things, and I absolutely agree with you, I think EA, and it's not just EA, it's pretty much every big sort of publisher and studio did fall into this. I think not just nerds, in a cave. I think almost every studio got into this sort of thinking, this irrational thinking of, if you build it, they will come. Right? It doesn't matter. You just need to put a character on a screen and players will buy the game and play it. And because that was true for such a very long time.
It used to be like that because it used to be a seller's market. Video games used to be a seller's market. You have 2-3 good games on a whole year. Except now you get 2-3 good games on a fucking week. So it is now a buyer's market. It just kind of sucks that so many gamers out there still don't realize, no, bro, this here's a buyer's market. We get to decide with our wallets, and if we just do that, we'll be golden. We'll be cruising. Problem is that people still think this is a seller's market, and that's what got us here.
I think you're on point there. So true what you just said there. I think people still have that mindset of 10 years ago, where you're right. Maybe in a year you get 2-3 good titles. Right? The rest of it is not even titles worth mentioning. There's very few indie games, almost no AA games whatsoever. Nowadays, that's just not the case. You'll have. I mean, look, we're not even halfway through this year, and look at all the bangers people already have. And you have bangers that launched last year that's still bangers now. So it's like the games just don't end. It's just nonstop. There's always something else to play. And I think a lot of the large AAA studios are finding it very difficult to figure out how do we deal with this?
But I think it's I think it's very telling what David Gator says in the article, because this was an article that they've done with Games Radar, where he was saying that his tastes, David Gator's taste, who's the guy who created Dragon Age, had become old-fashioned in EA's eyes. And he talks in this article about how the teams are very they didn't get along very well. Like the Dragon Age team and the Mass Effect team, they apparently didn't get along very well because EA was playing favorites with who got to do what. And it makes sense because you look at a character like Shepard, what does he look like? He looks like the ultimate fucking jock, right? And so it kind of makes sense that if Shepard fits that sports game image that they have for, the guy who was the model, I think he was a tennis player or something. I forget. I don't know. But he's obviously into sports and gym because the guy was super fit or whatever. But so that fits more of their image, and the type of game that Mass Effect was much more action-y than Dragon Age. And if you were around back then and you played, if you had played Mass Effect and then you play Dragon Age 2, you can tell that the shift from Dragon Age 1 to Dragon Age 2, it was the Mass Effectification of Dragon Age. Anybody who played those games could instantly tell. It's like, oh, you guys are trying to transform Dragon Age into medieval Mass Effect, but it doesn't fucking work because the things we like about Dragon Age are very different from the things that we like about Mass Effect. So this was a terrible idea. Some people still liked it, though. I get it, but I didn't like it. I didn't like Dragon Age 2 at all.
I like Dragon Age 2 purely for the story. Back then, BioWare at least could do story still, you know? So the story was interesting. Not the narrative, but the sort of the lore was rather interesting, right? Because it was just more Dragon Age lore. The narrative was sometimes really bad, but still, I kind of didn't mind it. Inquisition was hard for me because Inquisition sort of tried to be this balance between the massification and trying to be Origin, but don't want to be too Origin. And it was just like, man, pick a lane. Like, choose one. This is just nonsense. Like, you can't have both. And I think this is a big part of why modern day gaming is just failing, at least in the AAA Western space.
Sphere, yeah.
Yeah, because everyone is trying to look for shortcuts. Everyone is trying to look for that one formula that they can just keep emulating and it'll just print money. You know, not even to talk about the activism and the politics that also enter the sphere. Because that just creates the perfect storm.
They're trying to look for that one video game that appeals to everyone. They're like, no, we want the largest possible audience. That's the one that we want. And they don't realize that like actually focusing on a niche work that way. Is so much better, which is like what Expedition 33 did, which we'll talk about a little bit later as well. But it's like, as they did, they're like, no, we don't want to make a game that's going to be for everyone because not everybody likes turn-based games. We don't care. Our game's going to be turn-based. Another thing, a lot of people don't like parry systems. Too fucking bad. Our game is turn-based and has a parry system. So they're not looking to capture a massive audience. They're like, no, we just want this niche of people that are going to appreciate this thing that like the old Final Fantasy games and stuff like that. That's who we want to appeal to. And this is what we're doing. And that's why that game received as much praise as it did. Same thing for, Baldur's Gate 3. They decided we want to appeal to the crowd that loves a good in-depth CRPG, that loves these crazy decisions, turn-based combat system, fans of dragons and Dungeons and Dragons. That's what we want to appeal to. And boom, here's our game, right? And it makes sense to go for that. It's the same thing when Miyazaki makes one of his games. He's not like, oh, let me make the game significantly easier so that everybody can play it. He goes like, no, here's what people like in my games. Will I add something that maybe will make it more accessible? Sure, but ultimately, this is for my core audience. Here's what it is. And boom, success. And yet, for some reason, so many people still don't get the message and they go like, no, my game is going to be for literally everyone. Everyone's going to be able to play my game. And it's like, okay, and nobody will care. Good job.
Dude, we just covered this last week. Hideo Kojima that was bummed out that so many of the testers liked Death Stranding 2 because he was like, man, the first game, they hated it. Why are they liking it now? Did I make a mistake? Did I make this game too friendly for people? You know, obviously I don't think he did. I think it's just that most people didn't know what to expect with the first Death Stranding. So they expected it to be Metal Gear Solid. And then it turns out, no, not Metal Gear Solid. Now they know what to expect, right? So now they're going into it knowing, oh, this is what it is, right? But yeah, I fundamentally agree with you. I think there's sort of like it's that perfect storm thing where if it's just one thing that happens, you'll probably be able to recover from it. But because you're hit by so many different perfect storms at the same time, there is just no recovery. The first thing is the sort of complete, I almost want to call it the blueprint conceptualization of the video game industry, where everyone just tried to make a blueprint that would apply to everyone. So if you're a Mass Effect fan, there's no reason not to be a Dragon Age fan because it's the same game, right? We're doing everything exactly the same. just different stories and different settings. So that's problem number one. Problem number two is a rising indie and AA environment that creates phenomenal games with new technology that can absolutely kick your shit to the curb, right? Like, we're no longer, this isn't your mom and dad's arcade days. This is days where you have AA studios, indie studios like Sandfall Games producing stuff like Expedition 33, right? And if I just showed you Expedition 33 and I asked you, do you think this is made by a AA, AAA, or indie studio?
Most people would likely say AAA. I mean, hell, from the first trailer, it looked AAA as hell. So yeah,
exactly. Actually, we're going to be talking about that later. But actually, in one of the articles that we're going to be talking about later, one of the people at Sandfall actually reveals when they released the price, people were worried because they were going, "Wait, why would a AAA studio charge $50 for a game?
They're not very confident.
Is this going to be some 12-hour slop?" Right? Like, they would like, wait, because it looked AAA, right? So indie, and then you have this new political wave that also hit, right? Where suddenly the stuff that used to be fine, that most gamers would just sort of accept, we're now getting pushed back. And even if you don't argue that most gamers are pushing back, it's at least a significant enough portion that if you start to put all of this stuff together, it's the perfect storm to just put a lot of pressure on studios like EA, publishers like EA, publishers like Ubisoft, and suddenly they find themselves without the talent that used to make good games because all of them left, because they were sick and tired of being mistreated and abused by their executives, and now trying to fight a market where they no longer have the money. Right? They're no longer alone and playing against themselves effectively. I remember there used to be an era where they would even coordinate launch times so that they're not launching against each other and everyone gets their time in the sun.
I want to go back to that where they coordinate launch times because everything's happening at the same fucking time right now and I can't keep up. I fucking can't. I'm too old for this shit, bro. Like, listen, friggin' Monster Hunter Wilds gets a massive update pretty much on top of the release of Elden Ring Nightreign. It's like, bro, there's only one of me, okay? I need to be covering both of these at the very least. And then you also have friggin' Blades of Fire comes out right on top of Tainted Grail. And I'm like, bro, there's only one of me. Stop, please. This is crazy.
I mean, try being a city builder fanatic in the indie space. There's pretty much always something coming out.
There's one of those coming out every day.
Yeah. Which is good, but also not so good. But then you have, I think, some more evidence even, and this is the third story in this collection of stories. EA just announced the cancellation of the new Black Panther game, as well as the closure of Cliffhanger Games. Now,
Cliffhanger Games.
Do you know anything about this?
No, I
Cliffhanger Games were the guys that created the Black Panther game.
Cliffhanger Games, something studio. Who are Cliffhanger Games? What we're building? It still says there. I think these might be a relatively new sub studio that they might have made.
Yeah, EA acquired this studio
to work on Black Panther.
EA signed a contract with Marvel that gives EA 3 games to produce. One of them is the Iron Man game that's still in production. One of them is the Black Panther game that has now been canceled. And another unannounced project that has also been canceled. Now, Cliffhanger Games has, let's just say they have a history with my people. All right. So on my side of the internet, Cliffhanger Games is not unknown to us. Many of us have made videos about this studio in the past because a lot of their developers are severely anti-white. One of their hires is a former Sweet Baby Inc. staff member that famously said that at their studio, they employ 0 white people. They refuse to work with white people at their studio. So, you can imagine fan favorites over on my side of the internet.
Bro, you know what?
But they were the ones who worked.
Let's just bring racism back, bro. I mean, let's just fucking
make
do
racism
it.
great again.
Yeah, make racist. Let's go. Let's be fucking racists. You know, why the fuck not? Oh no, I forgot.
Hey,
you can't do that against white people. I forgot about that part.
Yeah, I mean, I'm South African, bro. I know best. You know, you can sing all sorts of songs about me, and get away with it. But anyways, so we're not talking about South African politics. Don't worry.
Yeah, let's not get into that.
I won't submit you guys to that. But okay, so they're well known to us, right?
Okay.
The game itself, as you can imagine, Black Panther came out during the height of the George Floyd stuff that happened in America. So Black Panther is by itself not necessarily a DEI film, but you can see how very quickly it can become very much DEI heavy and centric. And EA just completely closed it. And I think it's telling that Black Panther is canceled, Iron Man isn't.
Bro,
and
let me just explain something. Black Panther did not came out alongside the George Floyd tragedy. It was like 2 years apart.
No, I said at the height of the whole controversy, right?
No,
so
yeah,
you have the stuff that happens, but then it's like,
wrong.
It all blows up.
Black Panther came out in 2018. George Floyd's situation was 2020. So it didn't come out during the height.
Hold up.
Now, the reason why you're saying that is because a lot of people started using the same stuff from the movie during the George Floyd protests. That's what I remember.
No. I'm okay. So I'm not using the George Floyd stuff as the George Floyd stuff, because you have prior to this 2018, 2019, even early 2020, you have the peaceful protests, right? The peaceful protests with the burning buildings all over America. You have the left turning America into a hellscape because of what they perceive to be racism, I guess you could say. So I'm just putting all of that in one thing, right? So maybe it is unfair to call it the George Floyd stuff, because that was an event later on, right? I'm just sort of putting all of it in one basket.
The second movie was 2 years after George Floyd. So maybe that's the one that you're thinking about. Okay.
No. I'm just saying it came at the height of sort of the, let's call it racism craze in America.
It was sandwiched between, I mean, I'm not sure I would call it the racism craze. I don't want to touch that topic at all.
I know you don't want to, but that's why
I ain't touching that.
I'm happy to, right? I'm happy to. But yeah, I don't mean George Floyd as in the person. I just mean during the height of the race riots in America.
The riots and
you had Black Panther coming out. And then I remember you had a bunch of white people Googling, how can I fly to Wakanda? Because they thought it was an actual place in Africa. But never mind that.
Are you serious?
I am not lying, bro. They actually showed the Google trains at the time where people searching, how can I go to Wakanda? Because people actually thought that Wakanda was based on a real place. I don't think it was the majority of people that thought that, but that there were enough people to make Google trains actually go.
I have said a million times, the education system, like globally, has failed us miserably. But even I wasn't aware that it had failed us this fucking bad. Okay,
oh, you have no idea.
Jesus fucking. Hey, guess what? I want to go to Narnia. How do I go to Narnia, Akalon? Can I go to Narnia? Fuck, I want to go to Azeroth, bro.
Get in your closet.
Where's Azeroth?
So fundamentally, you have this whole thing come out, right? And it is very much celebrated by the left. And to be fair, I actually, at the time, even said, if you want to do diversity, equity, and inclusion, this is how you do it. Create something brand new from the ground up. This isn't a problem at all. Unlike the Harry Potter stuff, which is going to be fantastic. I don't know if you saw that, by the way. But Hermione is a brown girl. Snape is a black dude. Harry Potter's going to hit different. Like, Harry Potter's going to hit different, Buracon. Harry Potter's dad ties Snape to a tree upside down. And I already know exactly what that scene should look like. That's in the books, by the way. That's what Harry Potter's dad does.
See,
but I want Harry Potter's dad.
I've never liked Harry Potter. I was forced to watch the movies by my wife, and I still didn't like Harry Potter. I was like, oh, whatever.
Well, just picture this scene, right? And this is the perfect scene for that. Picture Harry Potter's father, right? With like a white pointy wizard's hat, like long white robes, wizard
okay,
robes.
bro. Okay, that's enough. That I'm good.
No, but that's
I don't want to. Yeah, okay, that's fine.
That's the scene.
Cool.
Right?
Knock yourself out. Okay.
It's gonna hit different. I'm just saying that, right? But fundamentally, I have a problem with the Harry Potter stuff. I don't have a problem with the Black Panther stuff. What's interesting is that EA decided to cancel Black Panther. And more importantly, EA would not have been able to do this without Marvel say so. Because they have a contract with Marvel for 3 games, Black Panther, Iron Man, and the unannounced one. So this means that EA and Marvel sat together and went, Black Panther's not going to work. Because if you go to their actual statements, I just made a video on this. If you go to their actual email statements, they go, we're going to be focusing on things that will provide an opportunity for growth instead and success. So we're going to sort of refocus our efforts on things like The Sims, Battlefield, Apex Legends, and Iron Man. That's still going to continue. And the new Star Wars Jedi 1, number 3, and Mass Effect. We're not going to be going anywhere near the cliffhanger stuff. So just interesting that EA is sort of walking back, because Cliffhanger was by far one of the more political studios at EA. Not the only one, but definitely one of the more political studios. So I find it interesting, at least, that EA is sort of going, yeah, okay, maybe this is no longer worth it for us.
I don't know, dude. When it comes to all of this, the politics around like the diversity and all of the injustices that have happened throughout the world and whatnot, one of the things that always comes to mind to me is that interview, that Morgan Freeman interview, where he's talking to a journalist about the topic of racism, and Morgan Freeman just goes like, "You know how we fix it?" And he's like, "How? We just stop talking about it. Just stop talking about it." And maybe that's selfish of me, but that's the way that I've always lived my life. Is like I just don't talk about it.
Yeah, I would say what Morgan Freeman is referencing, I fully support. The problem is if you apply it to this, and I'm not suggesting that every single person should start caring about politics, right? Although I do think every single person does care about politics. I think different people just sort of express it differently. But the problem is if we just stop, so you get a lot of people that go, dude, stop complaining about this nonsense. If you don't like it, don't play it. And it's like, well, we don't like it and we aren't playing it. But by talking about it, we're also allowing the studios to at least have a clue. Like they cannot go, well, we just don't know why we're failing. Although they still do that. But they can't really go, well, it makes no sense to us, because we can literally point them to all of the work that we've done and go, we've told you that this isn't what we want. And you keep doing it, right? Now, again, different people, different strokes. Not everyone needs to talk about this. I don't want everyone to talk about this. I don't even talk about only this, right? On my channel, this is some of the stuff that I cover. But when it's relevant, I do feel like I have to talk about it, right? And in this case, I do think it's relevant. It seems to be the only thing that EA is closing down, and a lot of those developers are being fired. So, yeah, something is happening in the gaming industry, and I, for one, am super excited about it. It might be the turn of the century for us. Maybe we'll finally get games that have no modern-day bullshit politics in it, so we can just get back to playing video games and not have to worry about this nonsense. And we can finally make a podcast where Rurikon doesn't have to worry about politics being part of the podcast. Wouldn't that be fun?
That would be fun.
But then leaving all of that aside and moving away from the politics portion of the podcast, I think it's time we focus on something that's near and dear to Rurikon's heart, although maybe this will not be the happiest time for, I don't know. But Elden Ring apparently has a movie with a studio that I've never heard of. And I should just mention this. Before we started the podcast, Rurikon sat here for about 5 minutes and just read a bunch of random names. And eventually I went, dude, what the hell are you doing? And he's like, these are the movies. And I'm like, what movies? And he's like, that the studio has made. And I'm like, I don't know one of these movies.
There was one that I did know, Whale. I knew Whale because that was Brendan Fraser's
Everything,
return.
Everywhere, All at Once thing I've heard of before.
Everywhere, all at once. Yeah, that one I've heard of as well. But I don't know a whole lot about this studio. Maybe that is even a good thing. But I'm hoping that Miyazaki goes hands on with this, because I think if not just Miyazaki, but like Miyazaki's team, I think if Miyazaki's team from software goes hands on with this, I think that we might actually get something good. But traditionally, let's be real, most video game adaptations to movies are not fantastic. And, you know, there are some examples that are so bad that they kind of like cross the threshold and become kind of like good. Like Street Fighter. So it's like Street Fighter.
Yeah. or like Resident Evil. Resident Evil sort of goes... Mortal Kombat is another great example where it's so bad, it somehow doubles back to, well, it's kind of enjoyable.
It's actually funny because I recently watched a video where they talked about the career of Van Damme. And apparently Van Damme during the filming of Street Fighter was just like, during Street Fighter, bro was just like always high on coke and shit.
Wow. Okay.
I was like, I mean, that's cool.
Kind of makes sense in Bloodsport as well. I remember being a big fan of Bloodsport. I don't know if you ever watched Bloodsport.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was a huge fan, especially the final round, I think, of Bloodsport 3, where they raised the ring like this, and suddenly it changed everything. You know, and I was young, so I was like, oh, the stakes are high now. You know, and he's fighting this Asian dude, and the Asian dude has pills in his sort of belt. It's just like, what the hell are we doing here, man?
It was crazy, those early Van Damme movies. But yeah,
and so he always had the eyes. Probably he was always high on coke, because he always had those eyes where he's finally snapping in. You know,
he was doing tons of substance abuse during those days, apparently. So yeah,
I wouldn't be surprised. Good stuff.
But for the Elden Ring movie, so this is the studio is A24 or is it A28?
Yeah,
A24.
No, A24. Yeah.
Yeah, and I believe that George R.R. Martin is also going to be involved. It says here the Elden Ring movie is official at A24 with Civil War and Warfare director Alex Garland. So I don't know too much about the movies that this guy's worked on.
I have to say, there's one issue that I have. I just recently watched Civil War, and my biggest issue with Civil War is how inoffensive it was. It is genuinely a movie where this guy went, you know what? I want to sort of tell the story of where America is headed. So, Civil War. But I don't want to offend anyone. So, I'm going to make a movie where no one is the bad guy. There's just Civil War, and you don't know who's to blame for any of it. And in fact, the two sides that are fighting together is California and Texas. They're on the side against Washington, and you go, what? In what universe would California and Texas, if there's going to be a civil war, it's going to be California versus Texas. It's not going to be, they're not going to be on the same side. So his movie was it wasn't a bad movie. It was just a very confusing movie. So I'm not entirely sure if I want him for Elden Ring. Like, now, Elden Ring isn't quite as offensive as a civil war in America, right? But it was a very confusing movie. Let me just put it that way.
Yeah. But yeah, the other one's Warfare, whatever. But the thing to me is I'm just hesitant because of the fact that we've had so many bad adaptations. That doesn't mean that this can't change. But I'm also concerned about the storytelling style, because like Miyazaki's storytelling I feel like if there's one person that, I mean, I'm going to be super biased because there's one director that I just friggin' love most of his body of work. It's like Quentin Tarantino would make one mean Elden Ring movie too.
Oh, yeah.
Go.
He would actually.
This is the fucking king of mind fucks, which is exactly what Miyazaki is doing. I don't know. I think that's like, you give it to Quentin Tarantino, he would put in some work on that bitch. But I don't know.
So too.
I'm probably gonna watch it because I'm just like, even out of morbid curiosity, I will want to watch.
100% gonna watch it, dude. It could look like a Steven Seagal film in the trailers, and I would still watch it. It's Elden Ring. Like, why am I not gonna watch the movie for Elden Ring?
Like, listen, I think that if this project goes through, I think there needs to be a part of the film where it's Queen Renala. And she turns to Radagon and says, "Go fuck yourself." And Radagon just goes, "Okay." And then he goes and he fucks himself. I want that scene. I want Renala confronting Radagon and just telling him, "Go fuck yourself." And Radagon just turns, "I think I will." And then he goes, he does
I think what bothers me a little about the film is, when is this film going to be set? Probably. If
I think it will be,
I'm willing to bet it's going to be about Melania.
I think it's going to be a prequel. Melania?
Well,
no,
I think
it's going to be very much before Elden Ring happened, before the shattering.
Yeah, you know, the events that lead to all the bosses that you're fighting and the place being completely wrecked and shit. Yeah, it's going to be that story. And it's probably going to be told through the eyes of one of the sort of
it's going to be,
that you eventually end up fighting.
It's going to be likely Radagon versus Melania, I think, is the one that would make the most sense. But
probably, yeah.
We'll see, because that's going to be like a big struggle, like Melania corrupting Radagon. No, not Radagon. Radon. That's Melania versus Radon. My R names were getting mixed up. But I think that's what makes the most sense.
Yeah, I think so too. I think but obviously the movie is a go. It is starting. We also know that there's apparently a movie for Expedition 33, so that's also something that might be announced at some point in the near future. They might try and do something for that. Of course, the movie that I would love to see is D&D, No Honor Among Thieves, a sequel. I would love to see that. Man.
Dungeons and Dragons is pretty good. I like that movie.
That movie was fire.
It was.
It didn't do as well box office, but it was fun to watch. I loved it.
It was one hell of a fun movie.
Yeah. But talking about Elden Ring, you've been playing some Nightreign. What's happening there?
I've played Nightreign. I've beaten every boss except for the very last one because I wasn't able to sync up with people because most of them were playing from the States. So there's a very limited pool of players. And it's actually funny because when I was playing with randoms, it was really, really hard. And then during the weekend, I was able to sync up with Fight and Cowboy. And then it was like, oh, this is so much easier now when there's like at least two. Actually, there's usually like three of us that knew what we were doing. It's like, oh, this is so much easier now. We can actually go through and kill things.
Yeah.
But it is definitely much more designed around co-op. So it's like, if you have people and you're on comms, you're going to have a much better experience. If you're playing with complete randoms, I think particularly in the first couple of weeks, it's going to be kind of like tough. Now, they did say that you can play it solo, and that is technically correct. So you can play by yourself if you want to, and the monsters do scale down to make that feasible.
But how much?
But unless you're one hell of an Elden Ring player, you're going to get your fucking shit kicked in, okay? I wasn't able to complete any solo runs. Then again, I didn't put too much effort into it either because you're going to have to study a lot to really do proper. You're going to have to really know the map and know, okay, these are the camps that I could tackle if I'm solo. These are the things that I need to go for if I'm solo. These are the relics that I'm going to need to have where I'm solo. And it's like, even the players who are doing solo, a lot of them were farming in multiplayer to get relics, which is like the progression that you get between runs to then go and do solo. So it's soloing is going to be very, very rough. But basically, the whole idea of Elden Ring Nightreign is that you're going to go in. The map is always the same. There's one map, which is Limveld. So it's kind of like the same concept as Summoner's Rift in League of Legends, right? So they want you to be able to repeat that map so that you get to know the intricacies of the map.
So you get to learn and know exactly where you want to go.
But the map changes. So there are events that happen. I've seen, let me see, it was 1, 2, 3, 4. I've seen at least 4 different events that actually change the layout of the land. I will talk about one of them because I want people to like experience the other ones for themselves. But one of them is the crater. And crater is basically like a meteor or something falls down and makes a huge fucking hole in Limveld. And then you have to, I mean, you don't have to. This is an optional event that you can do, but you can go down the crater and there will be like some tough enemies there and you defeat the enemies. And then at the very end, there's like a special reward. So if you make it all the way to the end of the crater, it's like a little mini dungeon. There's a reward and then you have to fly out of the crater and still make it in a way that you're not caught by the circle. Because for those of you that don't know, Elden Ring has this ever-encroaching circle, almost like a battle royale, but that's the only thing that's like a battle royale is this encroaching circle, and that is just to give you a sense of urgency. So the way that the gameplay plays out is you queue in, you go to these expeditions, you go to Limveld, and you have day one. Day one lasts for about 4 minutes and change. Cowboy actually had all these times written down. I don't care too much about the exact timing of when the thing, but it's about 4 to 5 minutes lasts day one. And day one is just like go around farm, go around, kill monsters. Whenever you kill like a boss or something, he will have this 3 rewards that you can choose from, very much like you would have in a roguelike. You can maybe get a weapon or you can get like a passive bonus. You can get something along those lines, right? And so your objective day one is just go around, farm, collect as many runes as possible, level up. Leveling up is super important. Max level in this game is 15, and it almost seems like the impact of levels is 1 level in Elden Ring Nightreign is like 10 levels in Elden Ring. So each level is much more important.
A lot more impactful.
Yeah, it's very impactful. So you want to level up as much as possible, and then the circle starts encroaching in. And as the circle encroaches in, eventually everybody's going to be collapsing onto one final section where the first night boss appears. First night boss appears, you have to fight it, you have to kill it. Now, if you die before the night boss appears, that's fine. You can respawn, you're going to lose a level, you have to go back, pick up your runes, all of these things, but you can keep respawning infinitely, you can die as many times as you want, although that's going to severely diminish your chances of success. But once you start the fight with the first night boss, if all 3 players go down, that's it. That run is over. You're done. Yeah. But if you defeat the night boss, the ring expands again and lets you farm for another day. So you have another day to go and farm, kill more bosses, gather loot, do whatever, prepare yourself. And by the time day 2 is over, you should be around level 12. If you're not level 12 by the end of day 2, you're likely going to have a really bad fucking time. But anyways, the circle collapses in again, and then eventually you fight Night Boss 2. Fight Night Boss 2, same rules apply. If all 3 of you die during Night Boss 2, run is over. If you defeat Night Boss 2, then a portal appears, and you get to go and face off against the Night Lord. And the Night Lord will be something that you actually choose. So when you're choosing the expedition that you're doing, you're choosing which final boss you're facing. So it's like, okay, I'm going to queue for Tricephalos, which is the 3 dogs thing that everybody has seen. You know that all of the bosses that you fight before then are going to be random, but the boss that you fight at the end is always that guy. And so you're going to go in there, you're going to fight him, and that boss is going to have like a specific weakness, like Tricephalos' weakness is holy, so you'll want to pick up holy weapons that deal holy damage, because that will make the fight a little bit easier. But it's still up to RNG whether or not you actually get those weapons, because at the end of the day, it is a roguelike. And so you go in there, you defeat them, and that's it. And there's like 8 of these bosses, and you're gonna be going through. And each of these almost feels like a raid encounter. Almost, it's like an Elden Ring raid, right? Actually, if you've played Final Fantasy 14, it's more like what do you call the things that aren't raids? I forget the name now.
Or the epics.
No, not epics. There's crap. I can't believe I forget the name. The trials. It's like a trial. It's like Final Fantasy 14 trial.
Yeah.
Except there's a dungeon ahead of it, which is the farming portion. It's like a dungeon.
Yeah.
The most important thing about succeeding in these runs is figuring out a route very early on. So you're going to drop and you're going to be like, okay, there's a church nearby. We need to pick up that church because that's going to increase the amount of potions that we have. There's this camp here that has this type of potential reward. We need to do that because that's going to give us a weapon to defeat the boss. There's this Everjail here. You can go to Everjails. They give you bonus EXP and stuff like that. But knowing the map and knowing the route that you should be taking is what's going to dictate like whether or not you're successful. And then obviously figuring out the boss at the end. But I thought it was a ton of fun. I had an absolute blast playing it. And it's one of those things where I've always wanted from software to do a co-op game because you have optional co-op, but what ends up happening is a lot of times the bosses have a tough time dealing with more than one player because players can just like play ping pong with the boss. You go up to the boss, you smack him. Oh, the boss is on me now, so I'm going to go defensive and you're going to go offensive. And then the boss turns around and it's like, okay, now I'm going to go offensive and you're going to go defensive. So you can kind of like ping pong
the bosses weren't really designed with the idea that multiple people will try to attack it.
In this game, the bosses will fucking slap you, even if there's 3 of you. And sometimes, even if there's 3 of you that know what you're doing, you're still going to get slapped around like a little bitch. So that was really good. I was very happy about that. They did not hold back. And the other thing is also, one of the problems of doing a co-op run, say, of Elden Ring, like let's say tomorrow From Software releases Elden Ring 2, and you and me, we want to play together. Like, it's going to be very hard to sync up because maybe you have more time this week and I have less time, or the other way around.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, like, you're level 80 and I'm level 20. And it's like us getting together is going to boil down to you just pummeling bosses in like 2 hits and me just feeling like, oh, I'm not contributing at all. This fucking sucks. The session-based nature of Elden Ring Nightreign means
makes
that
it so
even
that you can't.
Even if you have like hundreds of hours, you are going to be slightly more powerful because of the relic system. But the knowledge is really what's going to set it apart. So you're still going to have to like play with me in a way that you're going to have to help me help you to defeat the boss. It's not like, oh, I'm going to go in there and I'm going to just fucking beat this boss.
Just get out of my way.
Just sit in a corner, fucking do nothing. No. Everybody has to contribute. Everybody has to like pull their own weight. Otherwise, you're going to have a bad time. Like it's literally like that. So that was really, really cool. And I think that's going to be fun. And I think that if they expand it potentially with another map at some point, because just this map alone has tons of content because of its variation and the different events that are in there. If you add another one and you double up on that, it'll be crazy. They've already said that they're doing more Night Lords, so more expeditions, and they're doing more Nightfarers. So these are the classes that you have access to. And that is going to be really good. But I really hope that they consider one more map. Another thing that they've said they're doing in an IGN interview is that right now you can play the game solo or you can play the game with 3 players. So if there's only 2 of you, you have to matchmake and get like a random third. There's no 2-player option. However, they are considering doing duos. So this means that you'll be able to queue up just you and one more friend, and you guys are going to be good, and you're going to be able to actually just play together and do a full run with just 2 people, which I think that is going to be cool as well.
My apologies, guys. My computer just crashed. Blue screen of death. We're back. Don't know what happened. Don't ask.
Windows
it's
happened.
Completely wild. Yeah. But Windows ran into some kind of issue. Rurikon did catch me up on everything that he spoke about while I was AFK and waiting for my PC to restart. I'll just say on the duos or not having duos and not, only being able to do either as 3 people or as 1 person, it never quite, like, maybe there's some kind of balancing reason for it, but if you're going to be able to balance the game for 3 people and you're going to balance the game for 1 person, why can't you balance it for 2?
They said it was an oversight. Because they mostly just wanted to make the game balanced for 3 people. They didn't even want to balance it for 1, but they understood that a lot of people like playing our games, solo. So I guess we'll change the scaling. But even just changing the scaling doesn't change all of like the mechanics, because you can res people if there's more than one of you. But if you're alone and you die, you just die. Like there's not a whole lot about it. There is an item that like allows you to come back to life. It costs like 10,000 runes or something like that. But usually one of the big advantages of playing in multiplayer is that they balance things in a way that if you die, it's not a big deal because somebody can come along and kind of get you back up. But there is a penalty for dying multiple times. So like you die once, you get one of these purple pips. So that's easy to res. I can go up to you and like slap you twice and you come back to life. Because that's how you res. You beat people up and they get back up, right? It's like, oh, you're down? Get up, bitch! It's like slap them with a weapon. The thing is, if very shortly after you die again, that's 2 pips. Yeah. That's going to be twice the effort to get you back up. And then if you die one more time, that's 3 pips. And that gets really fucking hard to res you, especially if we're fighting a boss and the boss is like jumping all over the place trying to murder me. And I'm trying to like, let me get you back up for like half an hour of swinging on your dead corpse. It's like, that's going to be rough. So there is a penalty, but ultimately it's still much more forgiving if you're playing with like 3 players than if you're playing by yourself. But I think that duos is going to be very much a sweet spot. So I'm happy that they're considering that. But overall, I thought the game is a blast. And I think that From Software is recognizing the thing that we've been talking about, which is AAA is ballooning to an extent that is pretty out there. So they're like, okay, what can we do that's maybe like a smaller scale and allows us to experiment with something that is completely different from anything we've done. I mean, Miyazaki himself, because this is not directed by Miyazaki, but Miyazaki said, listen, we want to make new directors. We want to, we want to have people cut their teeth in the industry, because Miyazaki is probably well aware that if he just keeps being the one that is always directing, always doing the thing, eventually people might grow tired. So he wants to give fresh talent. He wants to build fresh talent, which I think is very important in this industry. So bro comes in, he's like, hey, I want to do this crazy multiplayer thing. And Miyazaki's like, you know what? That sounds really good. Go do that. And so they did it, but it's a much smaller scope. So that it's a $40 game. It's an experimental title. It's a lot of reused assets, because like a lot of the bosses that are in this game are bosses from Elden Ring, Dark Souls 3, Dark Souls 2, the original Dark Souls. It's basically the best of Dark Souls almost edition. Like all of the bosses are coming back and all of these crazy things, right? So he's taken advantage of things that they already have and building this game mode around it. And the cool thing, and this is something that really annoys me, because people keep saying games should be free to play. And I was like, motherfucker, why do you want another microtransaction filled piece of fucking garbage? Jesus fucking Christ, pay the money.
Yeah.
It's like, if you want to, if it looks like it's fun, just pay the money, because that way you unlock everything in games. Like there's all of these skins that you can have for the characters. You unlock those by playing the game. Like complete all the remembrances for a character, you get a remembrance skin.
Wait, so there's no cash shop?
No.
Or
no, it's $40 and you get the whole game. Like that's it. I think that if you pre-order, there's a gesture that you get or something like that. And if you get the DLC, the deluxe version or whatever it is, it includes the DLC that they're going to be releasing later of an additional gameplay stuff. So like Nightfarer and Night Lords, and I don't know if they're maybe doing a map. I'd love for them to do a map. They didn't confirm this, but they said that like another Night Lord at least and another Nightfarer. So the deluxe edition includes that, but I'm sure that they'll sell that later down the line separately. But that's it. Like in terms of microtransactions, there aren't any. But people are like, no, it should be free to play and live service. And it's like, no, it shouldn't. It's okay for this game to only be popular for a couple of months, and then you move on and you play something else. This is fine. Everybody's looking for a forever game. Like we all want forever games. It's like, no,
there's a reason for it. You said it at the beginning of the podcast. People still think we're in a seller's market. So people still think that they need this one game to go on forever.
To last forever. And yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's like you don't need that anymore. And I think you touched on another thing that's super, super important. The future of AAA, I think Miyazaki and the team from Software, they're starting to realize AAA games are going to have to become sort of like a 1 in a million game. Right? You have most of your games are going to go through as like AA, maybe even indie level sort of development, because we can no longer say quality, because that it's misleading. If you're talking about AA quality, what the hell are you talking about? Because you have games like Clear Obscure, which
and
that's
Baldur's
a AA game.
Gate 3.
And Baldur's Gate 3. And it's clearly not AA quality, right? It's AAA quality, but at AA pricing. So clearly the technology and stuff has allowed us to do a lot more of this stuff now. So I think even AAA studios are going to have to adapt to a new style where most of our games are sort of smaller, more targeted towards like the $40, $30 price tag. And then every once in a while, you might have a big idea for a massive game.
Yeah.
And that's the game that you then go full-blown AAA, big budget, let's do this. But for everything else, you just sort of go, no, we're going to do this kind of stuff, right? This Nightreign kind of stuff, where we can make the games far quicker because a lot of it is just rehashing assets and putting it in a different format. But also we can make it a lot more fun and we can learn stuff from this. And I personally don't see a problem with that.
Yeah. I think that the game is a ton of fun. Like it is just like a super fast-paced Elden Ring. Like you have this super sprint thing that you go. It's almost like you're on top of torrent but you're just running. You're booking it. There's no fall damage. So you just jump off of cliffs. You do the spirit springs, like the torrent spirit springs, but you do them with your character. Your character just like jumps up, goes crazy. So the traversal of the map is insane. Then there's also spectral hawks that you pick up, and it's kind of like a bus that just takes you to a location, and you can jump off at any time. So it's all about map navigation, knowing where you're going, picking up all the bonuses, leveling up, and then beating on the boss. And one of the really cool aspects of this is that it gets you to use weapons that you maybe would not have used in traditional Elden Ring. Because like in traditional Elden Ring, you go and you're like, oh, I'm upgrading this weapon. So guess what? This 200-hour playthrough, this one weapon. And in this game, it's like, hey, look, here's a weapon that looks kind of cool. Maybe use that. And you're like, I guess I'll use this. It deals a lot of damage. I guess I'll upgrade this. Yeah. And for this run, this will be my weapon. Like, I've used more weapons in the 30 hours that I've played of Elden Ring Nightreign than I've used in like, I don't know, friggin' 500, 600 hours that I've put into Elden Ring. I've used more weapons in these 30 hours. It's crazy.
I think because there's no long-term commitment.
Yeah, exactly.
They're not required to make like a full-blown pick your weapon. And if you've picked this weapon, there's no real way to unpick this weapon.
Yeah.
Because if you do want to choose another weapon, you've just wasted a whole bunch of shit on a weapon that you might not use again, right? That's going to limit you in the future. Because a lot of the things that you used to upgrade, if I'm not mistaken, is limited. It's not unlimited.
What do you mean? In Elden Ring?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It is. I mean, it's unlimited up until the very last upgrade. The last upgrade has a limit of the amount of items that you can pick up on each run. Yes.
Yeah. So, you are going to run into a problem where I can only upgrade this once, so I'll just do this.
Yeah.
Which, it's fine, but I think it's more fun because this allows you, again, if Elden Ring 2 comes out, you might actually learn about some of the weapons in this one and go, man, I actually kind of like this. Yeah, I like this weapon. I might give this one a go. Or people might just go back to actual Elden Ring now and go, man, I just discovered this mallet shit, and I'm about to wreck some crap.
And
you never know.
The other cool thing is the classes that they've made for the game, the Nightfarers.
Oh, yeah.
They also suit like very specific roles. So like you have the Guardian, which is kind of like a tanky boy. You have the Raider, which is your big two-hand guy, which is also tanky as fuck. He actually headbutts monsters with invincibility frames. He's just like,
nice.
Fuck you. Like there's literally been bosses where the boss is coming in with like this super attack and I just go like, nah, bro. I'm going to just fucking headbutt you through all of that damage you were about to do. I'm going to take no damage and headbutt you in the fucking face. And then I'm going to summon a big fucking rock because he's just like summon a rock, like a big fucking rock out of the ground. And then you're on top of the rock and you jump off the rock into a plunging attack on it. It's so good.
Wow.
So there's that. Cool. And there's a class that you probably would like. Which is the Revenant. It's kind of like a necromancer. The disadvantage for you is that it's a doll. The character that is that class is the doll.
Oh,
like a puppet.
Why?
Because from software, that's why. But you can summon like a giant skeleton. You can summon like creatures that help you deal damage, and you can cast all types of spells. Then there's another, these classes are actually, there's some of them that are quite unique. Like there's one that's called Duchess. And so what Duchess does is imagine that you guys just did a wombo combo on a boss, like fuckload of damage. Duchess has an ability that just goes restage. And all of that damage that just happened, she does half of it all by herself. She just like goes, okay, that crit damage plus this ultimate plus this frost proc, boom, all of that just happens again for like a percentage of the damage. And you're just like, oh, that's fucking crazy. You're just going through pop.
Wow.
Then there's an archer that also does like crazy friggin' archery shots and whatnot. There's a parry character that's kind of like Sekiro, works just like Sekiro, except in this game. And there's another spellcaster that you'll probably be really into. This is a recluse. She's a witch-looking character, super like goth mommy and shit like that. And so she is able to like, let's say for instance, you deal lightning damage on a boss. She can extract the lightning essence and then she can combine like 3 different essences, like say lightning, fire, frost, and that will cast a unique spell. And so you have to play around with all the different types of damage that your party is doing. And you can do crazy spells using that. So yeah, there's like,
that actually seems cool.
Yeah, there's like some really interesting mechanics to these classes. So yeah, it's friggin' legit. I like the game a lot.
I might give it a go, quite frankly. I'm just currently busy playing a whole bunch of other games, but I might just give it a go.
The good thing about it is that it's low commitment because it's like, okay, you play and it's like a 45 minutes to 50 minutes session. And then you can just be done.
Sort of like how I play League.
Yeah, it's like a League game. It's basically like a League game. You're going in, 3 other people. Hopefully they'll be good, and not 3 other people. You and 2 other people. Hopefully they'll be good, and then you just like go through, have your little bite-sized Elden Ring experience, and then you pop out. Then you can do another one if you want to, or you can take a break.
Yeah, I might actually just give it a go. Talking about things to give a go. You've played Cyberpunk, right?
Actually, no.
You've never played Cyberpunk?
Nope.
Oh boy. You have to, bro, because Cyberpunk 2...
Yeah, I have to give it a go.
Yeah, Cyberpunk 2 is officially now in pre-production, bro.
That's probably... Official. That means that I have like, what, 8 years before...
well, they did say don't expect the game before 2030. Just FYI. Wow.
It's in pre-production. That means I have about 8 years before I have to finish it. I got plenty of time. I'm pretty sure that we will probably all be dead before then because fucking Russia, Ukraine, Israel, Palestine, we're all going to fucking die before that game comes out at this rate.
I mean, we don't know anything else about it, guys. The only reason we're bringing it up is so that you guys know about it. But literally, that's it, right? We just know that the game has entered pre-production, and like, make your plans for 2030. Yeah, that's gonna be super fun. Keep that date open all year, effectively. I don't know what the next one is going to be about. Is it going to follow the story of V? Is it going to be before, after? Because basically we're in uncharted territory. There's no real source material to pull from for a 2077. So whatever comes after 2077 is sort of up to them. Still, I think super, super exciting. Sticking with CD Projekt Red, though. Rakan, you remember when they announced Witcher 4? And you remember that there were some controversy, right? We discussed the controversy on the podcast. You remember that, right? And then everyone just sort of moved on, right? Well, apparently CD Projekt Red is now running it back. They're going, wait. We didn't convince them the first time. We're going to do it again. But only this time, we're going to pretend like Ciri was always the main character of the game. Geralt was just there to help out. Right.
So this is one of those situations where I'm not sure how much I can contribute, because I feel like the only people that can really answer that question is people who've read the books. I haven't read the books. Yeah. And I think that's the
because
the game is based on the books, and the game is supposed to respect the books. That's the way that I look at it. I mean, obviously you can take some creative liberties there.
Yeah.
But from what I've played of Witcher 3, which was still a significant chunk, I would not say that Ciri is the main character.
No, you can. The voice actor also doesn't get the.
You can say that
memo,
like they're setting her up to be the main character of the next game, and I can accept that. But I wouldn't say that she's. But again, I didn't finish Witcher 3, so I could be wrong. I don't know.
Yeah. So as someone that I have not read all of the books. I've read a lot about the books. But I have not read all of them. I can tell you the first book deals quite a bit with Ciri and Ciri's story, and then after that, it's pretty much Geralt start to finish. Because the whole book is about Geralt.
You mean The Witcher?
Yeah, literally
Geralt,
The Witcher.
The
right?
Witcher.
It's all about Geralt the Witcher. My only problem at this point is that there seems to be this doubling down where they're going, look, guys, we're not being woke or anything like that. We decided all the way back. This is literally their argument. They're like, we cannot be woke because we decided to make Ciri the main character of the next Witcher since before we even did Witcher 3. It's like, okay, all you're saying there is you decided to be woke almost a decade ago. Like, that's not an argument, because the argument isn't that Ciri makes it woke. Right? Ciri being the main protagonist isn't what makes it woke. It's what drove it, right? What was the reason for Ciri's inclusion there? I mean, how much care did you actually take with Ciri? Is Ciri going to be a full-fledged, well-developed, well-designed character? Or is Ciri going to be a Mary Sue?
I mean,
is Ciri going to like, what's the explanation about her Witcher status? Are you going to dive into that? Or are you just going to be like, well, she's just the strongest, bestest female ever. So you just need to put up with it, right? These are the things that players have questions about.
But you can't make that assessment until the game comes out. The one thing that I will say about that is, like, why are you even bringing the topic up? Just like,
because it's literally yesterday the article came out.
Not you.
Oh,
I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about them. Why are they bringing the topic up? Because it's like, like, we know there was the whole controversy and stuff. You don't need to address it. Just make your fucking game. Just like, that's it. Stop poking the bear. Like, just make the fucking game. Like, well, why?
This was exactly my response when I made the video on this. I was like, guys, we've moved on. We told you we'll wait and see.
Yeah, exactly.
Because that's all we can do at this point is wait and see, right?
Exactly. Like, stop poking the bear.
Yeah, we've warned you, right? Which is what all of us have done. We've warned you. We've said, guys, if you're going to go this route, you have to understand that there's a lot of pitfalls, potential pitfalls. And here are the pitfalls. But now, make the game. Let's see what happens. It's the ball's in your court, right? It's either going to crash and burn or it's going to be successful. And once it launches, we'll make our videos either calling it woke as shit, or we'll say, hey guys, this is a really good game. The fact that they keep running it back and they're consistently trying to bail themselves out.
They're trying to control the narrative. And it's like, there's only one way to control the narrative. in that
Launch the game.
situation, make a good game. That's it. Just make a
Yeah.
good game. There you go. You make a good game, and nobody will care if it's a female protagonist, so long as it's a good game. Like, that's it. Like listen, Stellar Blade came out. Everybody loves Stellar Blade.
Everyone loved it. Well, the media didn't, but everyone else really enjoyed it.
Definitely fucking didn't. Yeah, true.
Yeah, a lot of people in the media were like,
the guy who liked floppy penis physics floppy penis physics in Baldur's Gate 3. That dude was not a big fan of Stellar Blade skimpy outfits.
No, he thought that was way too sexualized. But the floppy penis physics was not a problem, of course.
That was actually, he called it one of its best features, actually.
Yes. Except
one of the best games ever made, and bro's saying like, no, one of the best features, floppy penis physics. That's the best. It's like,
this makes sense to me, actually.
Yes.
If you're a games journalist, this makes perfect sense to me. Because what else are you going to focus on? You're pretty useless at everything else anyways.
Jesus, so there you go again. I don't agree with that. I don't think that the whole industry is
guys,
bad.
Rurikon doesn't think that all of the games journalists are shit. I, on the other hand, think that they are more shit than you can even imagine. Okay. This is where me and Rurikon stand on separate sides of the aisle.
That's fine.
We are not in agreement on this. I want to make that clear for legal reasons. Rurikon does not represent my views, does not represent that of Rurikon's, please.
It's just like the thing to me is the same way that a lot of people like to generalize gamers TM. I don't like to do that generalization for anyone. That's the thing.
Once I meet a journalist, dude, I should actually tell you, kind of made my own name a little bit shit, and I had to apologize. I was really humbled on X earlier this week because I was just scrolling. It was sort of late at night. I think it was like 8, maybe 9 o'clock. No, so not super late, but late-ish.
Who did you?
And I'm scrolling with? X. I'm scrolling X, and I see this article about Adi Shankar or whatever, the creator of the Netflix Devil May Cry series.
I don't know who it is, but I know that there's a new Devil May Cry on Netflix. Yes.
Yeah. Adi something. And this article is from a journalist saying that Adi Shankar, I think that's his bloody name, but please do not hold me to it. But he complained in a podcast that he thought Devil May Cry was dead. And he was resurrecting it.
Yes.
And he was really bummed when they announced Devil May Cry 5 because he was like, bro, come on. And then I see his response to the article and he's like, you're lying. This isn't what I said. Right. And me jumping to every conclusion and allowing every single blind spot in me to just go, yeah, journalism, liars. I just immediately respond to him and I'm like, yeah, well, what do you expect from the modern media? And very quickly, people start responding. I'm like, bro, here's his literal quote. Right? Next morning, I wake up and my mentions are on fire with people going, here's the literal quote, where he literally says that. Right? So I was forced to apologize. I was just like, there guys, you got me.
That's what you fucking
I allowed my bias. I allowed my bias to jump in. I'm so sorry about that. And what makes it worse is I should have known because it's bounding into comics. And they're actually one of the few good ones. Bounding into comics is not a bad outlet. So it was like, oh, man. Yeah, I have to eat the L.
Gotta take that out.
You have to eat the L. So, yeah, here's what it is. Let's talk about something that is actually quite fun. We've already spoken about your fun. Now we'll talk about something that we find fun, right? Expedition 33. Now, guys, I get that some of you might be a bit tired of hearing about Expedition 33. The game has been a cultural phenomenon. And I think the reason it's been so incredible is it's sort of proof that the AAA industry just has their heads up their asses, because here comes a studio with 30 people, a very tiny budget. According to themselves, the budget is far smaller than most people think. They actually say this budget is smaller than games that were made 10 years ago.
So
that's how tiny their budget is.
But Echelon.
Yeah.
Echelon. That's impossible because everybody told me that video games are more expensive to make now. I don't believe you. You know, whenever I tell people, but wait, there's more tools available. There's a much bigger market. There's all of these, you know, current situations that are huge improvements, like the streamlining of coding, AI that can help people code better, fucking, you know, the engine tools and all, because they're using Unreal. So although Unreal 5 is like, not a big fan, but whatever.
But it's pretty good in Expedition 33. It does its job.
So it's like there's all of these things that actually should make the development of video games cheaper. But every time I talk about it, people are like inflation and my ball sacks, and they just come up with like, they fucking fold themselves into a goddamn pretzel, and I just like, okay, let's hear it now. Expedition 33 is here. They themselves are saying our budget's fucking tiny, minuscule, suck a fucking dick, like this shit ain't that expensive. The problem is, okay, the thing that all of these people are defending is all the useless people at the AAA publishers that do fuck all. You know, the people that the guy from Expedition 33 said that like this would take 10 years to get approved, and anyone in the approval chain could just like shut my shit down. All of those people need to fucking get paid millionaire salaries. And that is what a lot of corpo bootlickers in our community are going like, just sucking, cradling the balls, sucking the shaft, okay? Polishing that shaft real to a fine sheen, okay? And they're going like, no, you don't understand. It needs to be more expensive because I'm a corpo bootlicker. That's why. No, bro. I've said it a million times over, and Expedition 33 fucking proved it. The reason games are so expensive is fucking incompetence. Incompetence, motherfuckers. Get your shit together and games won't be so expensive. But no, nobody wants to hear me say that. No, they're all just like too busy sucking on that corpo dick and talking about inflation because they became a communist economy experts overnight. No, bro, it doesn't work like that. It doesn't fucking work like that. And if you've been in this industry long enough, you should be fucking aware of it. But people are just like, no, I'm right. Obviously, they're not lying to us. They wouldn't fucking do that. Obviously, games need to be more expensive. They need to be $80. Shit, they should be $100. There's actually people, I kid you not, go into my comment section whenever I talk about the prices of video games, and they go into my comment section, they go like, games should be $100 by now. And it's like, God, you're so fucking stupid. Yeah. And the worst part is even if they were, they wouldn't have better quality, you fucking idiot, which is another thing that we're going to be talking about after this topic that I will get into as well. So remember what I just said. Just because games are more expensive, it doesn't mean they're going to be fucking higher quality. And oftentimes it is the opposite. But anyways, I'm sorry. I got a little bit excited there. I got excited.
No. That's perfectly fine. I think the whole thing here, the success and what super should excite people is Clear Obscure Expedition 33 isn't just its own driver of success. There's something way bigger going on here. So Clear Obscure published their game with the help of Kepler Interactive. Kepler Interactive is a new third-party publisher that is actually owned entirely by smaller studios. So the publisher isn't a publisher. It is owned by smaller studios. And the CEO, Alexis Garaverian, right? He said the following. He said, the publisher champions games with bold art direction and innovative game design that avoid familiar influences like Star Wars and superheroes. Handran says this is essential in today's market. I remember writing about Steam being overcrowded for gamesindustry.biz 10 years ago and saying, oh, there's too many games. He says, well, there's 5 times more games being released now. So if you're coming to market with a game, it had better be doing something genuinely fresh. Right? And Kepler's entire process is this. They don't care about big budgets. They don't care about, hooks or whatever. Are you doing something interesting? And they'll actually help you. They'll put you in contact with the right specialists. that can help you with this sort of feature that you might want to work on. They'll give you money, although they don't like spending a lot of money. Fundamentally, they want people that make interesting content. And what stood out to me about the entire thing is with the next expedition coming around, they say this. Their aim is to hire up until about 50 people and then no more. They will not fall into the trap of starting to have multiple teams with multiple sort of developer teams. And he actually explains having a smaller team is actually what attributes to the success of Clear Obscure.
Yeah.
Because it's so much faster to make changes, to iterate on something, because you don't have to go through hundreds of people that have to be chained into your decision. It's just you and one guy, right? It's just one guy. You go to the arcade, you go, hey, I want to change this. And he's like, well, let's go for it. And done. It's over. They say the following on the next game, because they're already working on that. Plus, the team has grown up, has acquired new skills throughout production. Many of them were junior when we started. We learned to work together. So I can't wait to get to the next project. And because we'll start from a more efficient position than when we started the company 5 years ago.
And that is fucking massive. Like, people really underestimate how important that is. The fact that you do have people in there that have been working with you. There's like a shorthand, so you know this person's good at this, that person's good at that. And that is talent that if you're able to maintain that talent, that means that is talent that is there, that you gain a skill set within the company that you're able to do things that nobody else can do, because people aren't just fucking numbers that they go on a spreadsheet and be like, well, we got to let go of 10% of people to make line go up, right? If you're not doing that, you're actually retaining a lot of investment and you're getting people that are happy to go into work. They're happy like, no, dude, this is a cool job. I'm doing my thing. The company values
I love what
me.
I'm doing.
Yeah, exactly. And you have motivated people, and that makes all the fucking difference. Like, people still don't understand that having motivated, passionate individuals in this industry is the only way to move forward. If you don't have that, you have nothing. You have fucking slop. Like, video games cannot be made like a factory product, okay? It's not a fucking standard product. It's not the way that it goes. And so them like basically fomenting and incentivizing that type of people getting together and having that shorthand and understanding everybody's skill set and earning those skill sets and just increasing those is going to be massive. Yeah. Their next game is going to be probably really good.
I think the thing that stands out about how different developers that's close to the industry think about how games should work, right? For example, they asked him about the price, and he said, I think as that AAA price goes up, I think it creates more an opportunity to be launching games, more sensibly scoped games, and pricing them at that $40 to $50 range. And I don't think anyone that played Expedition 33 would think they didn't get their money's worth out of that. And when they asked him, how were you able to keep the budget so small? He spoke about scope. He said they weren't trying to artificially bloat their game. They weren't trying to figure out, how do we make this game 100 hours? From the beginning. Yeah, from the beginning, their aim was to get about 20 hours of the main quest done. And as the main quest continued, they were like, they started edging closer to like 30 hours. And they were like, okay, do we need all of this? And they eventually cut down and they got to 30. And then they ended up closer to about 40 hours, depending on how much of the main story you do. But if you put all the other content alongside it, you do get up to like a lot of hours, way more than just 40 hours, right? But if you just focus on the main story, that's 40 hours. And they, from the beginning, said, unless it absolutely has to be there, we're not adding it. We don't want to add it just to make the game longer. And he basically says in this article, the big issue is no one is able to explain to them why you get to charge $80 for a 100-hour game, but $40 for a 20-hour game. when you arguably have more fun in the 20-hour game than what you have in the 100-hour game.
That's something that I've
pricing
always
should be.
Yeah. I've always made that argument, like too many people associate that. And I understand why, because people is like, well, I'm spending $60. I expect to at least get like a $1 to 1 hour type of deal off of the game. I understand that logic. I don't think that logic always works because there are some experiences that are just different. Like in my case, the one game where I realized that, it doesn't work like that is Vanquish. Because I played Vanquish all the way, and I remember paying full price, which at the time for me was on online stores. It was like 50 euros. Paid full price for Vanquish on release day, and I played that game for 12 hours, and it was done. That was it. And I was like, but it was one hell of a fucking high octane, super fun 12 hours, so it was fucking worth it. But it's not going to work for everybody, and I understand it. But there's definitely still some friction in the industry when it comes to stuff like that.
Yeah, but I think it is just one of those things where they also make the same point that you made earlier, which is there's so many games in the market right now.
It's a buyer's
market. Gamers no longer need 100-hour games. It's okay to make a 40-hour game, let someone finish it, and then go play something else.
Yes.
Right? And what happens when you make games like that is gamers will oftentimes continue to play your game. Like they'll just start over and over and over because they want to play more of this really fun experience.
Look at Dark Souls.
Yeah, look at Dark Souls. Look at Clair Obscur. Look at Baldur's Gate 3. Even look at games like Cyberpunk. Even though, yes, Cyberpunk and Baldur's Gate 3, the stories are a lot longer, they're still crafted to end, right? There's no unnecessary bloat added to it just to keep the game going. Everything is there, and it makes sense to be there. And I think we're heading into a very fun time in the industry where, yes, this is going to be perilous for a lot of AAA, but it's going to be so good for AA and indie, especially with more people like Kepler coming up. That from a publishing perspective, they have this goal in mind. They're not interested in just making money. They're interested in actually making good games. And their hope is that in about 5 years from now, when people see a game, they'll immediately know that was a Kepler game. Like as soon as they see the first images, they'll be like, oh, this is Kepler. I understand, because they always do this iconic shit with their games. So I think that's pretty cool. Talking about the price of games, which we're sort of on about, dude, did you see the absolute devastation of Doom?
You mean in the gameplay? Yeah, you devastate a fuck ton of demons. Fantastic.
Yeah, the gameplay's really fun. But did you see the game sold? Like the numbers?
I haven't seen the numbers. Tell me about the numbers.
Not even 1 million copies sold.
See, that's the thing about it. And I think that finally some people are realizing that this is a buyer's market. Because, like, look, I bought Doom. And I had to buy the deluxe version or whatever the fuck, which was like, I think 109 euros or some bullshit like that. It was really fucking expensive. Yeah.
Bloody expensive.
But I wanted to cover it. And therefore I was like, okay, I have to buy the early access bullshit, which I've already stated I don't like early access, so I think that's one of the things that gives people like a bad taste in their mouth. But Microsoft keeps pumping that out. It's like, no, you get it like 3 days, 5 days early. It's like, fuck you and your fucking classism in video games, motherfucker. Like the video games used to be the great equalizer where it didn't used to matter whether or not you're a filthy rich person or you're somebody who's broke. Yeah. Okay, it didn't used to matter. You just go into the game, you play the video game, and it's like one of the great equalizers, right? And so companies have been doing their damnedest to bring classism into video games. And I've kind of had it. I think it's fucking stupid. But yeah, so the game's real expensive. And this right here tells you that necessarily having a game that is more expensive doesn't necessarily make for a better game. And as a matter of fact, I've also said that Doom Dark Ages is a lot of fun. It's a shooter that I really like playing. When you are in the action, feels fantastic, but it also feels like a lot of the budget went into, we're going to make these massive fucking levels. And I'm just like, That's not necessarily a positive when you're trying to make a Doom game. Doom is good in short bursts. It's like you're going in and it's like this fucking crazy, hectic friction battle. And then the moment that battle is over, you want to move on to the next battle. You don't want to fucking stay there and explore for another hour in an empty fucking map looking for a wolf statue that is hidden away in this fucking massive map, okay? I can't think of anybody that wants to do that. And that's the reason why I got I got to level 16 or whatever it was.
Levels. Yeah. There's a number of levels where you sort of go halfway through and you're like, wait, this isn't over yet? Like, what the...
Yeah,
I don't want to keep going. I was doing a quick round. I want to go do something else, and now I'm stuck here.
I was in level. I think I made it all the way up to level 19 or something. And then when I got there, I was like, in my way there, I was doing 100% on every level. I'm like, oh, this is fun. I'm finding these secrets, and then eventually the levels just balloon to a point where I'm like, well, fuck, I don't want to be stuck in here for 30 minutes looking for a dumb secret. Fuck that shit. I want to go back to shooting and killing demons. And then I started to resent
doing it again because you missed something. You
missed something.
Because there's actually some of them where if you miss it early, you can't go back.
Yeah, you're fucked.
But you can't get back up. So now you have to do it again. And that doing it again, it takes so long to do, even if it's the only thing you want to do, that you almost go, man, I just don't want to do this. I'm okay. And then you're triggered by the fact that it says 99% complete because you missed that one bloody thing.
OCD.
Yeah, and I would also say there's too much, right? Because every single level has a bunch of secrets laying around. Those secrets can sometimes be fun to sort of unravel, but then they also give you these sort of challenges that you have to complete in every single mission.
The challenges
like
I'm okay with.
Kill this many with this, kill this many with that, kill this many with that. I don't have a problem with the challenges. The problem is you sometimes have 3 different challenges, and they're not always synergist with one another.
Compatible.
They don't always synergize very well. So you're sometimes stuck in this thing of you have to do this one as quickly as possible so that you also have time to do the other one because it just doesn't feel organically fun, and it kind of turns that into I can't just kill demons. I have to think about how I'm killing the demons.
I was thinking about something else.
Slaughtering some demons.
When you said challenges, I was thinking about like those weird boss fights that are like sometimes a little bit off the beaten path. Those are fun. But like,
those are super fun,
if you're talking about the actual, the optional objectives or whatever the fuck it is, I'm not a big fan of those either. Like,
kill many demons in one shot or some bullshit.
I never like challenges that force you to use maybe a weapon that you don't even want to use. I'm like, well, fuck, I don't want to use this weapon. It's like, what the fuck? I want to use the other weapons that I like. I've never liked that in video games. I'm just like, no, stop.
Did one of the missions have this objective where you have to, the chain gun, the one with the ball and the chain?
Yeah.
You have to use that gun for the objective, but then there's almost never ammo for the gun. Right, so you're constantly going, man, what the hell is this? I have to use my melee attacks just to get the ammo back, and I have to keep using this weapon, which is dog shit on most of these enemies because most of them aren't armored. It is just so annoying to play that way. So I feel like the game really suffered from a bit of over-design, but even with all of this said, it's fun.
It is a fun
really
game. 100%. Yeah, I think it's a fun game. I don't think it's I think it's the type of game that if I am someone who just wants to play a Doom game, I would probably wait for a discount, which is I think what I said in my review because it's more like first impressions or whatever. I would probably wait for a discount on it rather than picking it up full price, but for content creation, obviously I don't really get that choice.
Yeah. But I would say the fact that it hasn't even sold 1 million copies is a direct result of the price.
Oh, yeah.
The game's 100%. Too expensive.
Yeah.
For it is, it's way too expensive.
And people are going to start learning real fast. The AAA industry is going to eventually learn because gamers are finally being like, oh, this is a bit much. Like these $80, people tolerated 70 bones. I'm hoping they won't $80 because it's too much.
I don't think it's about tolerating it. I think it's one thing to have the luxury, belief of going, oh, I don't mind $80. I'll pay $80. It's a whole different story when you actually have to pay the $80, right?
When you physically can't afford it, yeah.
Yeah, and for a lot of people, even if they can afford it, $80 is a lot of money. $80 does make you sort of think. And then you have bangers like Clair Obscur, Expedition 33, and Baldur's Gate 3 that launch at like $40, $50. And at some point, the gamers are going to start going, wait, I can buy 2 of these double A, triple A games.
You can buy
one of these.
You can buy Clair Obscur and Tainted Grail, and those are 100% worth it. Like easy dubs.
And you have more hours that you'll put in than you will in Doom Dark Ages. Fundamentally, there's no other reason. The reason we spoke about this and sort of did a mini review again of the game is to drive the point home. There is no other reason why this game is performing at every other price point. If this game launched at 50, I guarantee 3 million copies minimum sold.
Oh yeah, 100%. And it'd be worth it
because it's good enough for that. It's good enough to sell at least 3 million copies in the first week.
And now let's actually do the math, right? Let's do the math. So let's say you're saying they haven't sold 1 million. How many?
Not even one. Let's make it 1 million. So
1 million?
they've had 3.5 million players, and now we have the actual sales figures that show that they have not even sold 1 million copies.
Okay, so let me just see what was
2.5 is on Game Pass alone.
What actually is the price? Let me check on Steam. Is it $80? Because I bought the more expensive version, so I don't know.
It's 80. I think it's 80 bones. I haven't even bought it. I played it on Game Pass.
Yeah, you played it on Game Pass. It is 80. It is 80 euros, so therefore that should be $80. So let's say 1 million at $80
is 80 million.
It's 80 million. And that why was I multiplicating that? That's so fucking stupid. Oh my god!
It's not bad because you have to get 30%. Do the 30% now.
Who cares about it? It doesn't matter. It just matters if the other number is going to be bigger. So it's going to be 3 million times 50. It's 150 million.
3 million times 50 is 150 million.
It's almost twice. It's almost twice as much money that you could have made.
Yeah. I mean, and if you include the 30% that you lose, you still gain so much more.
You still gain more, yeah. Because this number is almost twice. So it's like these guys are basically pricing themselves out of the market.
Yeah, you're making, and the sad part here is
shoot yourself in the face. No, you're ripping away your nose to spite your face, or whatever it is. You're cutting off your nose to spite your face, whatever the fucking thing is.
and once the game is out, it's out, right? Once you've got, and the problem is the game isn't good enough that it's going to continue to gain hype.
Oh,
you were sort of. This was your hype moment, right? This was the moment that you needed to capitalize on all the hype. Because it was good enough that people were going, man, this is really fun. But in a month from now, no one's going to go, man, that Doom Dark Ages was really fun. Because it's over now. So congratulations. With your greed, you've shot yourself right in the testicles. And you've actually made less money than what you could have made if you just lowered the damn price to something that isn't this disgusting. Guys, look, if you're the AAA and you want to charge $80 for a game, you have to understand something. You cannot make a game that value-wise, most people would expect to pay about 30 to 40, maybe $50 for, and then charge 80 for it. You can't even make a game that used to be $60 for $80.
Even if you were only to sell,
I expect more.
Even if you were only to sell 2 million copies, you're still making more than what you did with the $80 price tag. That's the thing.
This is what the industry doesn't seem to understand. They're going to charge more. They're going to sell less. And they're going to be like, we just don't make any money. The industry is broken.
They're in a cycle where likely when they started increasing to $70, they probably already started selling less games. And so they're like, oh, we're selling less. Therefore, we need to charge more. This is a death spiral because you're going to keep charging more and more, and people are going to keep buying less and less. Which is like,
there's
it's fine if you want to charge like $1,000, and at that point you only get the whales. But you know what business model that is? That's the Star Citizen business model.
Yeah, I mean, it worked for them. There's a thing in business. This is a legitimate thing that happens in business where businesses will start to struggle. And what will usually happen is the business will start to cut corners. So for example, go from 4 gherkins to only 2 pickles on their burger. They'll take the patties from like 100 grams to like 80 grams. The sauce will go from 2 teaspoons of sauce to half, right? Yeah, so they're shrinking the shit out of that thing in order to try and make their money back. And then there's the other side of it. So companies that won't do that, what they'll do is they'll simply start increasing the price. Because their thinking is we're selling X amount of burgers.
It's a
if
premium
we charge
product.
This much, right? We'll make our money. And it's like, wait, but you're not keeping in mind that as with every dollar that you increase the price, the potential customer shrinks. Like it goes down because customers aren't going to keep going. So you are correct. It is this death spiral where we'll just charge our customers more because we keep selling, say, for example, 2 million copies on average at 80 buckaroos. That's good money for us. Then we have a cash shop that makes it easy for us to break even and even make money. But at $80, you're no longer having that 2 million price point.
Not to mention
that sole point is now down.
One of the biggest arguments for the $70 and the $80 was to get away from the cash shops. But what we're getting is like, no, you get both. You get the price increase and we still get the fuck you in the ass with the cash shop.
Yep.
That's how that goes.
Yep. Yeah. Like that was literally, we were told about 10 years ago, those of you that don't remember, we were told, look, guys, gaming prices haven't increased in almost a decade and a half. We have to start doing cash shops. We're just not making money. If we could charge $70 for a game, we could remove the cash shop. But since you guys don't want to pay 70 buckaroos, we have to get the cash shop. Now we're at $80 a game. And the cash shop is still there. And I'm sure the next GTA is going to be $100 and the cash shop is going to be there too.
You're going to get railed. You're going to be, as Akalon is saying, you're going to be throwing it back to
you're
going to
be throwing it back, bro. And they're not even going to give you a reach around on this one.
No, you get nothing.
No. But speaking of, this is just the final thing because at this point it's mostly just sort of talk. But Sony wants a social gaming score. They're
really
busy working on a plan to introduce a social gaming score effectively. What it's going to be is as a player,
isn't that what Xbox already has, which is their achievement points?
No. This is different. You see, this work on. Let's say you're playing a game. Right? Let's say you're jamming out to Elden Ring Nightreign on your PlayStation and you're having a good old time. And suddenly someone ints and you type, "Hey, you retard, what are you doing?" That's -1. Right? That goes on your score. Once your score goes low enough, your online privileges get restricted. And eventually you lose almost all online privileges on PlayStation. And then you have to do good behaviors in order to get your score back up so that you can get some of your privileges back. And it's going to be a score that's visible and available for everyone to see how naughty a boy you might be in your gameplay. Because they want to fight toxicity in gaming.
With a fucking social score.
Yeah.
Yes. That's
the CCP is full of ideas.
So here's what's going to happen. You are going to basically have less player interactions. Good job. Less engagement. Because people are going to be like, oh, I can't tell this motherfucker to eat a bag of dicks. Well, I guess I won't say anything then. It's the old adage, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. Okay. I can't tell you to eat a bag of dicks. Then I won't say anything. Now there's less engagement in the platform. Good job.
You know what? I genuinely feel like the endless hunt to somehow fix toxicity. in my opinion, it's a ghost hunt, right? It's a ghost hunt. Because most platforms have the ability to mute, have the ability to block. If someone says something to you that offends you, mute and block them.
Get rid of them.
That's literally all you need. The platforms that is going above and beyond, League of Legends is doing this every single month. They're up there with a new initiative to try and combat toxicity. It never actually works because most players don't give a shit about these initiatives. And you're ultimately just destroying the fun of the players. Because even normal players eventually get caught up in your bullshit rules because your rules are unimaginably strict.
I think one of the biggest issues that we have when it comes to this isn't even related to the gaming industry itself, which is it's interesting that everybody is focusing on the symptom rather than the cause. Let's just be completely honest. The problem that we have and the problem that nobody wants to talk about is parenting. People don't want to parent their kids. They don't want they don't want to have to invest the time to try and teach their kids how to be fucking well-rounded, functioning human beings. And because of that, these people end up on the internet with like some of the most degenerate brain rot imaginable. Because why? Because when little Timmy was asking you for attention, you slapped his face in front of a fucking iPad running fucking TikTok videos over and over, and now you can't control your child. That's why shit is fucked up. That's why so many people are unhinged, because they didn't receive an education and therefore they don't know any better. It's the parents' fault. It is also the fault of bad actors that are in social media, which are like fucking millions of them. I have to fight this shit every fucking day with my kid because on top of it, my kid has ADHD. So it's very easy for him to get like internet brain rot. And so therefore, as a parent, that requires more and more of my attention to make sure that he is not like completely destroying his fucking brain. Right?
Yeah.
And that is the problem. A lot of parents just don't give a fuck. They let their kids loose on the internet. And guess what? Kids on the internet, they're going to learn somehow. If they're not learning from you, they're learning from the internet. And if they're learning from the internet, they're not going to learn very nice things because people on the internet, they want to banter. Just like when I'm with friends, I'm bantering. We're shit talking each other all the fucking time. This is perfectly normal. This is normal human behavior. It is fun for us to shit talk each other, okay?
Yeah.
It's the old adage, I hate you, I hope you fucking die, I'll see you tomorrow, bro, love you. That's the way that it goes. And this is that's
how it should be.
And the thing is, anybody who doesn't think that this is a healthy relationship is a fucking moron, because it is.
Yeah.
It's fantastic because you're blowing off steam, and at the same time, you're not actually getting into physical confrontations. You're all friends still at the end. And this is very normal behavior. Now, unfortunately, because people are so maladjusted because they're not receiving education from their parents, they don't understand that this is an interaction. And therefore, they think that this is for real, and they take this shit for real. And it's fucking internet brain rot back and forth. And it's a serious problem. But policing it ain't going to solve it. The only way to solve this problem is for parents to actually raise their fucking children. Except we're not going to go there because that's too much work. That's just too much work.
But trying to police it is actually most likely going to make it worse.
It's a Streisand effect, because people are just going to be even more unhinged because like, oh, I'm going to get the attention that my parents didn't give me. And therefore, I'm going to be even more fucking unhinged because I'm going to rebel against the system. And it's like, none of this matters. Like, listen, I go on YouTube. I don't mind if somebody wants to like call me a fucking moron, a fat bastard, whatever the fuck. That's fine. The moment that I just feel like, okay, you're just being annoying now, I'm be like, okay, hide person. Never have to look at you again, ever. You're gone forever. You're gone from my comment section forever. I never have to look at anything you type ever again. Like, that's the beauty of it.
Yeah.
And it can be the same thing if I'm on X or any other platform and I'm like, wow, this person's really unhinged. I don't know if I want to keep watching this shit. Boop, you're gone. You don't even have to block them. You can just mute them. Boop, they're gone forever. Never going to see them again. And it's like, when you have all of these systems, why are you so focused? Like, oh my God, this guy told me that he fucked my mother. Oh, I will never recover from this.
Someone needs to take care of this bitch.
Who cares if he told you that he banged your mom, bro? fucking block him.
Did
Move
you
on.
have fun?
Like, it's like, Jesus Christ. It's
Actually,
like
more
these dudes
important, did she have fun? Did you take care of her needs?
Somebody got these nuts on the internet and they never got over it. They got into this deep depression. Oh my God, this guy told me if I ever heard about dragons, and I was like, oh yes, I love dragons. Then he said, dragging these nuts all over your face. And I will never recover from this. Oh my God. It's like, come on, bro. Like, fucking Jesus Christ.
Dude, it's actually quite hilarious to even think that this is the world that we live in now. What's worse is that there's a doubling down because there's always this lagging effect. We can see that it isn't working. We can see that this is just going to be terrible in the long run. But they're only going to realize it once they've completely destroyed their online community. That's when they'll wake up and be like, well, this was a really bad idea.
The best one of these was the bully hunters, bro. You remember the bully hunters?
Oh yes, I remember the bully hunters. That was so cringe, dude. Oh my God. Shit, that was
We're gonna get a bully hunter. He's gonna get into your lobby, and I was like, oh my God, a digital bodyguard. Wow. That's amazing.
Wow,
what the fuck, bro? Fuck.
That is the most like testosterone deficient shit I've ever seen in my life. Like, it's just like, come on, just grow this shit up. Like, I think so. I kind of understand it. I kind of understand where a lot of these studios are coming from, because a lot of these studios are trying to be, they're trying to be more friendly towards female players, right?
Brand safe.
Yeah, but I mean, if you go back to literally just like a few years ago, a lot of them were talking about how unless they create a more safe environment where girls feel safe to play their video games, girls are not going to start playing their video games. So they're all sort of all in on this. And I think there is something to be said.
Girls definitely get a fucking, like, they get a ton of abuse for just being girls in video games, 100%.
Oh, yeah.
There's a bunch of fucking assholes out there that unfortunately do make it hard. Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm gonna trigger some people right now and say that a lot of girls bring it on themselves. Let me explain. Let me explain before people lose their shit. Guys have a certain way of talking to each other. I'll give you guys an example. Every single Friday, me and Rurikon do this show. Every single Friday, I answer the phone and I immediately am greeted with Rurikon going, fuck you. Fuck you. I'm like, what did I do? And he's like, no, fuck you, bro. Like, that's just how it is, right? That I know I love Rurikon. I know he loves me. We're perfectly fine, but that's how it is. That's how he greets me, right? That's his thing. Back when I still swore a lot, I would greet him with a different word. Now I just go, wow, that's not nice. Yeah,
I mean, listen.
I understand it's a joke.
Whenever I answer the phone for some of my best friends, I'll just straight up go like, "Holy shit, you're still alive?
Haven't died yet?" Yeah, but guys banter and give each other shit. It's our way of showing we care.
Yeah,
and for girls, because they communicate completely differently. And anyone that's ever had a girlfriend or a wife will know girls do not communicate that way. They tend to take it very seriously. Like, they think, wow, you're insulting me. And I think that happens. And so what happens is, and I've seen this in World of Warcraft, where guys will legitimately be bantering. Some girl will take offense. And then suddenly the guys are targeting her. Because she's now made herself a target. Instead of just going along with it, instead of just joking around like the guys are doing, she sort of tried to challenge them.
So there's a couple of things, right? Yep. Being a female in this field is hard.
Mm-hmm.
It is.
Yeah, of course.
Like, I'll acknowledge it is harder simply because it is harder in some aspects and easier in others. So, like, if you're in an MMO, sometimes it can be a little bit easier because, like, you can get more
free
gold.
Shit.
You get like special. Sometimes, it do be like that.
Obviously,
like, but but if you're trying to like play a competitive video game or whatever, it is harder because there's a lot of people who's going to be like, oh, is that a girl? Oh man, they've never spoken to a girl or something like that, and they just like go fucking like full
you're hanging out mode. In like Nerd Central. Like what do you expect? A lot of these guys cannot speak to girls IRL, so of course, you know.
Yeah,
but yeah,
so,
I get what you're saying.
It is hard. It is a hard space to kind of like exist in. But at the same time, one of the things that I would urge people to be understanding of is that nowadays in society, you maybe don't get a lot of opportunities to vent off steam. And let's face it, throughout evolution, men were supposed to like go out and hunt and do all of these big manly things. And nowadays, most of men just sit in like offices and little tiny cubicles all day, and they need to like fucking vent at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So they go to some online video game, they scream at each other and whatever. And sometimes if you're among friends, you're just like big time chilling, just like shooting the shit and talking trash to each other. And that's just the way that it is. And if you're going to go into that environment, I would just urge people to at least try and be respectful, to just let people vent. I think that is very important, right? Like I think we need to be inclusive, and we need to try and bring as many women into the hobby as possible, because I think that's a good thing. But at the same time, I hope that women can be understanding of some of the shit that men say to each other, because that's just the way that we behave when we're online, and it is a very important thing to blow off steam.
Yeah, I should be clear. I don't mind that we're bringing more women into the space. I think you're perfectly fine.
It's not. I don't mind. I want more.
I wouldn't say.
I want more women. I do.
Why? What do they add?
Because I like women. It's like what do you mean? I want more.
That's fine. I like them too, but they don't have to be in the gaming space. Yeah, like them.
I mean, obviously, I want them to come in if they want to come in and have a good time. That's it.
Yeah.
But I would like there to be more.
I'm just saying I don't particularly care whether they're in the gaming sort of hobby or not. What I will say is, and this is really for anyone, this isn't for you, but I know there's going to be people going, well, why should girls adapt to you? Why can't you adapt to them? Because we're the majority. It's as simple as that. And if you buy into the bullshit that it's 50-50, you're out of your mind. Go read the study.
Listen, I will.
There's
not
50-50.
I will adapt to an extent, absolutely. I'm not going to behave the same way towards a woman that I don't know. Once you know them, they can talk trash just like the rest of us.
The thing is,
eventually,
I am perfectly happy to say on an individual level, there are certain things that I won't say in front of a girl that I'm more than happy to say in front of guys, right?
Yeah.
There's certain ways that I'm happy to speak to guys that I won't speak to girls. But that's on an individual level. If you're asking me to make sort of society-wide rules for all gamers, I'm not comfortable making those rules for all gamers. Because some guys just don't and won't, right? So if you're a girl coming into the space, you have to adapt to what the majority is doing. You're coming in as a very tiny minority. In a lot of the games that you're going to be playing, if you're playing shooters or RPGs, you make up less than 10% of the entire population of that game. Just to be clear.
I don't think that matters.
It matters in terms of who needs to adapt to who. Right?
Yeah,
you can ask, and you can be like, hey, would you guys mind not being so vulgar? That's perfectly fine. But if they don't want to, kind of just have to go, well, is what it is. If you want to change that, go play My Little Pony or whatever the other casual games is where you are the clear majority.
That's why I said that one of the this is a thing where people come to vent, where they're just like, I just want to like blow off some steam. I don't want to be like regulated or whatever. So I get it. I fucking get it.
Yeah.
But it's going to vary from person to person, and I can be understanding it's on a case by case basis, all of that shit.
Yeah.
But me personally, I would be very happy to see more women come into gaming, and it's one of those things. You can't force behavior on either side, though. That's the problem.
No. I wouldn't force. If you're a girl and you want to go off and you want to teach these men a lesson, good luck to you. I can already tell you, you will be destroyed. You will become the target of pretty much all of the guys there, and they will go ham on you.
You shouldn't.
Because
you
that's
shouldn't,
how.
though. You shouldn't.
No,
though.
you shouldn't. But that's how guys are, and they're like that with other guys as well. If you're in a group with a group of people and everyone's bantering, if you can't take a joke, you become the joke. Like, if guys figure out that you're the one that can't take a joke, that you're sort of getting offended, you'll become the joke. And everyone will pick on you because they're trying to get you to, well, fit in. We'll beat you. The beatings will not stop until the mood has improved, basically, is how guys operate in that sense. It sucks. I understand it. It's not what girls are used to, but that's just who guys are. And you kind of have to accept that. And I don't particularly care if girls come into the space. I would prefer if they come, if they want to, and if they don't want to, they don't have to. But I just fundamentally think what girls also need to realize is what Rurikon said earlier, which is not every guy was raised as a gentleman. I guess if I'm to use old language here from like the prehistoric era, when I was a child, we were still raised as gentlemen, which means that there are certain things you can't say in front of women. There are certain ways in which you can speak in front of women. There are certain conversations you can't have with women. Not every guy was raised that way. Some guys don't have that sort of filter, and it sucks. But you're gonna have to accept.
But it's also interesting that sometimes even among guys, there will be some people that will get filtered out because maybe they're too extreme. Or the other way around, or maybe they're too soft. This ends up happening. This type of filtering happens between guys as well. But I do think that we should try to make an effort. Like, we shouldn't change everything, but we should try to make an effort at the very least. Now, in my case, I don't have to worry too much about that because I can kind of like adapt to any situation. But there's a lot of people that have a tough time adapting, so it requires adaptation on both sides. But I would like to see more women in the space. In my case, it doesn't matter.
I don't play games where girls are involved at all. Like, if I see there's even 1% women in the game, I don't play that game. So I'm all right.
Wait, what? What the fuck?
No, I don't play multiplayer games, bro. I just play city builders, so there's no girls that play my games.
I was like, this is some ninja shit right here. What the fuck? It's like, a girl joined voice chat, I'm out.
No, I don't play a lot of multiplayer games. Back when I played WoW, I would do dungeons with girls all the time, and I didn't seek it out, but every once in a while you would go into a dungeon, you'd go, oh, this is a girl. And I would just not give a shit because I don't care. I'm just playing my game here. And usually I'm just wishing for this to be over because I hate this dungeon or whatever. So, it is what it is. But
I'm one of the few people that like
to say
dungeons.
On an individual level, guys need to try to at least be accommodating to women. Yeah. But I will not make that as a general rule because some guys just won't. And if you try to force them, they'll just become more extreme because it becomes edgy. Yeah. Sadly, that is what it is. But okay, ladies and gentlemen, this is the end of the show. It's actually a bit of a shorter show than our usual shtick. But
I get to go work out earlier today.
Yeah, you get to work out earlier. I get to go eat, and because I have not eaten in 4 days, so that's going to be super fun.
Why haven't you eaten in 4 days? Are you fasting?
Yeah. I was just fasting just to see, if I could. So it was good fun. I'm gonna go have steak now.
I don't think that's healthy for you to just randomly fast for 4 days.
Bro, you feel good actually. Like, genuinely, you feel insanely good. The second day is sort of rough. Third day is easy. Fourth day is I don't even feel hungry at the moment. I'm just gonna go eat because now's the time to eat. But yeah, and I probably will stream later. But by the time you guys see this, it'll already be Saturday evening. So none of this is relevant to your lives whatsoever. We're just talking about the past. Ladies and gentlemen, as always, thank you so much for joining us. Remember to hit that like button if you do, dislike if you didn't. And as always, be good to each other, be kind to each other, and we will see all of you in the next one. Peace. I'm giving them a middle finger because I'm holding things that I can't.
Oh my
not give them the middle
God, bro!
finger.
You fucking really, dude?
I can't drop it. I have to throw it away. If I drop it, it's too small. It's gonna go everywhere. So sorry, guys. You got the middle finger.